Mets cheer, for all your Mets cheer, let's go. Bring it home, bring it home, bring it home Make it happen. There's no stopping us now. We're gonna do it again. It's not a question of how. It's just a matter. It's just a matter. It's just a matter of when.
Hello again, everybody. Joe Piscopo, Shea Stadium. The big story. Mets 86. Exciting, thrilling, awesome. Let's take a look.
Do it. Do We got the teamwork to make the dream work.
What's up, Met fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets with Rob and the first live stream of the spring and of the 2023 season. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, say what's up. Do not be shy, guys. This is just the beginning of the 2023 live streams that is going to happen on a very almost everyday basis throughout the 2023 season. It is going to be a lot of fun. A lot of hype around this New York Mets team. We get Mad Max Scherzer on the mound today at 1:10 p.m. against the Washington Nationals. And old friend Trevor Williams will be on the mound for the Washington Nationals. So we have about 15 to 20 minutes before the game starts. As you know, if you're new to the channel, down below, scrolling on the screen, is the Mets lineup. This is something that you're going to see throughout the season when I go live during New York Mets games. You're going to have the Mets and the Nationals today, obviously. That's where you'll see it coming across the screen on the bottom. And, of course, the Mets lineup, so you have an idea, and the pitching matchup. So if you just tune in or you're a little late to the stream, at least you have an idea of who's in the lineup, who started in the lineup, and who are the starting pitchers for the game for that specific day. Also, what I'm going to do during the live streams during Mets games is start the live stream a half hour before the game for Mets pregame live right here on the channel. So that is something that a lot of subscribers to the channel, members of the channel that have been following me for a long time know what it's about. You go through the pregame, half hour there, and then we go right into the game. Whatever time that game may be, we'll go right into the game. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of different things going on during the live stream. And also during the live stream, during the Mets game, I also put up game day so you can follow the game visually, and you can follow the game with the TV as well. I will have the sound on for SNY so you can listen to the game depending on what you're doing. If you're sitting down, hanging out, watching the stream with me, you'll see me in the corner, and you'll have game day a little bit bigger on the screen so you can follow the game and see my instant reactions. And of course, your instant reactions for plays during the game, and that's why it's a lot of fun. It was a big success in 2022, and I hope a lot of you keep on coming back for more. And if you're new to the channel, hopefully you like it and keep on coming back more for the 2023 season. So hopefully everybody's doing good. Don't forget to please hit on that like button. And once again, guys, if you're a new subscriber of the channel, do not be shy. I do not care if you're not a Mets fan. Of course, Mets fans are always welcome on this channel. But if you're not a fan of the Mets and you're a fan of another team, don't be shy. Say what's up. This is a community channel. This is for all baseball fans. As long as you keep it normal and calm and not a lot of cursing going on and nothing racist or anything like that, you are good to come on this channel. So with that said, welcome to the 2023 live streams right here on Talking Mets It Rob. So we're going to go through the lineup really quick. We're going to go through the pitching matchup and talk a little bit about the lineup and what we're going to be looking forward to for March 3rd's game against the Washington Nationals. So, as I said earlier, Max Scherzer and Trevor Williams are the two pitchers on the mound for both respective teams. I'm going to take myself off the screen for a second, and there we go right there. So that is the lineup for today, which I'll go over in a bit. Let me just make it a little bit bigger for you guys so you guys can see. There we go. Perfect. There we go. All right, so for the Washington Nationals, we got Abrams playing shortstop. We got Call left field, Garcia second base, Meneses first base, Candelario DH. We got Garrett right field, Vargas third base, Robles center field, and Adams catching. And that is your lineup for the Washington Nationals on this spring training 2023 game. And of course, our New York Mets lineup for today with Max Scherzer on the mound. We got Mark Canha playing right field. We got Eduardo Escobar third base, batting second. We got Jeff McNeil batting third, playing left field. That is something to watch out for going forward during spring training if Jeff McNeil is going to play a lot of left field, because there is two reasons for that, and I'll let you know that in a bit. Pete Alonso playing first base, cleaning up. Daniel Vogelbach batting fifth is the DH for today. Tommy Pham center field batting sixth. Luis Guillaume at shortstop batting seventh. Tomas Nido catching batting eighth. And to round up the lineup batting ninth, Jose Peraza playing second base. So that is your lineup for both the Washington Nationals and our New York Mets. There we go, guys. So the first lineups discussed on the channel for 2023 is right here, guys. So there we go. And of course, Max Scherzer, Trevor Williams. Obviously, yes, it is the Trevor Williams that was on the Mets last year, who was one of our lifesavers when we had a lot of injuries in our rotation. And now we get to face him here in the early part of spring. So let me just recap and go over what is going to be going on the next couple of weeks regarding spring training and the channel. So once again, guys, of course, there'll be a couple of Mets Talk lives during the week as well. I am going to do a couple of games during the week. It is spring training, so, not a lot of people are going to be crazy interested in it at the moment. It's not, it's hard, especially during the week with people at work. And, night games are usually a little bit easier to get a lot of people to join in and have some fun. But I'll do a couple of spring training games a week just so we get back into the groove, and the new people who are the new subscribers to the channel that never seen it before can get an idea on what it's going to look like when the season starts. And I do live stream during Mets games. And as you guys know, for opening day is obviously in Miami. I will be in Miami. So don't expect the live streams for the games. Probably not until the Brewer series, which will be on Monday in April. So that's something that you guys will be looking for. But again, don't worry. I will be doing a live stream for about 20-30 minutes or so before the game, so you get the vibe around the field, especially in Lone Depot Park in Miami. Is going to be clearly Mets fans all over the place. If you're going with the 7 line, say what's up. I will be in one of those sections somewhere. And of course, the theme of the 7 line out is called Queens South, and that is going to be on the shirt, which is going to be always awesome. Over 2,000 7 line is going to that game all wearing the same shirts. Always going to be fun doing that. And of course, we all know there is a lot of transplants that are Mets fans in Florida, and they're going to be going there in droves, especially it's opening day. It's going to be nuts. I mean, if there's 30,000 fans at that ballpark on opening day, probably 95% are going to be Met fans. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's just hope we get a W to make it even a better, because as we know, it's going to be Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins for opening day. So it's not going to be easy. And there's no decision yet if it's going to be Scherzer or Verlander on opening day. I'm leaning towards Scherzer, but you just never know. And yes, I know somebody said about Verlander and Senga. That's fine. You got to remember, Senga is a guy that's still learning the mound, learning the bigger ball, the different grip of the ball, and it's a little bit different with the pitch lock, so they're probably trying to get him into his groove. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think Senga pitches Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, and I think Verlander pitches tomorrow. Let me just check for you guys. Yes, Verlander pitches tomorrow, his first outing of the spring, and Sunday is Senga. Both of those games are on the road, so they're not going to be televised on SNY. So that kind of sucks for their first outings, first starts of the year. But again, it's going to be very minimal. It's probably going to be 2 innings, most likely, for Senga and Verlander. So once again, Verlander tomorrow, Senga on Sunday. Both games are on the road in the Grapefruit League, so they won't be televised on SNY. So unfortunately, we don't get that, but we do get the Mets game today on SNY with Max Scherzer on the mound. So once again, guys, the pitching matchup is on the bottom scrolling on your screen. And of course, the Mets lineup for today's game is also scrolling on your screen. Once again, guys, do not forget to please hit on that like button. The more likes we get, the more people get onto the stream and more people can see the stream, because it goes at the top of the list for people who are looking for this type of content. We got Atlanta Brave fans, of course, the lovely trolls of the Atlanta Brave fans. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to bash the Brave fans because there's a lot of them, but that's okay. Trolls. It's all fun and games when it's spring training times, but when it comes down to the season, we will see, because there is 3 teams that can all win a World Series in the NL East: the Mets, the Braves, and the Phillies. Clearly, the Phillies went almost all the way last year making a World Series, and they were probably the least, one of the team that nobody would expect to make the World Series. The way both teams in the Braves and the Mets had their season, but unfortunately, the baseball playoffs nowadays is basically a crapshoot. You make the playoffs, anybody can win. So it's going to be very, very interesting, and I can't wait to go through all the divisions, choose the records of the teams, and choose the division winners, and choose the wild card teams, and that's going to be a lot of fun doing the MLB predictions for 2023, the preseason predictions that I'm going to do as I did last year. And you can probably there was a couple of things, like I said, I didn't pick the Mets last year to win the division. Prior to the season, I like to look very, I try to keep my bias completely out of it and look at, what I think the lineup looks like, the pitcher rotation, the bullpens, and everything else involved scheduling that is more balanced this year. So it's going to be a little bit easier to not really look at the schedule, because everybody's going to be playing the same teams in your division. So it's going to be very, very interesting. But I can't wait to do that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last year, I did pick the Braves to win the division, and I had nobody winning 100 games last year prior to the season. So it is actually a little crazy that 2 teams won 100 and won over 100 wins, and of course, only one team can win the division. I did have the Braves, I think, at 98 wins, and the Mets at 96. And I think I gave a little bit. I think I gave like 89 wins to the Phillies last year, which wasn't that far off. But again, a lot of things can happen during the season, and preseason predictions are all based on health for all teams, not just one. So Yeah, see, Todd, exactly, Todd. Like honestly, I'm so sick of people saying, the favorites. Like the Dodgers were the odds-on favorite, but for a while, all year. That's all you heard. Oh, the Dodgers are dangerous. The Dodgers are dangerous, and they got spanked by the Padres. Like it's like I, I'm baseball is not the same anymore. I've said this over and over again. Baseball playoffs, MLB's playoffs, is now like the NHL playoffs. Doesn't matter if you're the highest seed or the lowest seed. If you get hot at the right time and you got a hot rotation and a good closer or whatever version of your team gets hot at the right time, it doesn't matter what your record was at the end of the day. Because once you get into the playoffs, you all start at 0-0. Yes, one team on paper looks better than the other team, but every team looked better than the Philadelphia Phillies last year that are in the playoffs. Yet the Phillies made the World Series. You can't make that crap up. So I don't. That's why I gave a ton of credit to the Phillies, even though Philly fans would tell you, oh, always knew they were great. No, they're not, because when I went in August, at Citizens Bank, when Nets played them, Philly fans were out of the ballpark in the sixth inning, booing and leaving the ballpark. So they can't tell you if that team was so good, you would have been sticking around. So, and that goes for all fan bases. You can love your team and love what they did and enjoy it. Like Philly fans should enjoy their run to the World Series, but don't act like they were always always a really good team when they were one of the worst defensive teams in baseball. That really never changed, because at the end of the day, in the World Series, that was the errors and the strikeouts, which was basically their MO for the entire season last year, came to bite them in the ass in the World Series. So just because you make the World Series, just like the Mets in 2015, they weren't the best team. They were far from it. But they beat teams that were better than them, just like the Phillies did. The Mets got hot at the right time, and they took it to the World Series. The same thing with the Braves in 2021. The Braves won division in 2021, but they weren't considered the best team in the NL, but they got to the World Series, and they won the World Series, beating the team that was better than them. Same thing with the Nationals in 2019. It's just how it goes. You can make the World Series or even win the World Series and still not be considered the best team. And it really does not matter. The point is if you get hot at the right time, doesn't matter what your record is. You just do what you got to do. Get hot at the right time and anything can happen. So, of course, every fan wants to win a division for their team. Again, we've seen how the bye affected teams, but it's only been 1 year of the bye. So, but you can also turn around and say, well, the Astros won the World Series and they had the bye. So it takes a couple of years to figure out if the bye really hurts teams. Did it hurt the Braves? Did it hurt the Yankees? Who knows? Who knows? But it will be very interesting to see how that actually affects teams going forward, because 1 year of it doesn't really say much, because one team won the World Series and had a bye when the other three teams basically had a bad showing once they came out of the bye. So we'll see with that. But again, the most important thing here is just make the playoffs. Doesn't matter if it's a wild card team. Yes, you got to play an extra series. I get it. Maybe the bye, and we talked about this last year, the bye would have probably helped the Mets more than any other team, because they had guys like Scherzer who had the oblique issue. I don't care what he says. That was clearly affected him. So his oblique issue, you had DeGrom who was just only 10, 11 starts into the season there. And then, who knows if, Marte would have been a little bit more healthier if they would have got them a couple of more days rest. Who knows? The point is they got their ass kicked. And that's the whole idea when it comes to that. So the game should be starting in a couple of minutes. Once again, guys, game day is going to pop up. I do not think game day puts up the... Let's see. Let me see if they do it. I don't think they do it, but we'll see. Yeah, they're not going to put up the game day. You know how they have the hitter, the pitcher, all the pitch count, the score, and all that stuff like it normally happens. So they don't put all that during spring training. But we'll still follow the game with the audio as well. And of course, the game's going to start very, very soon, and we will get started with that. So let me just change over to the way everything would look during the season, so you have a better idea of what it's going to look like. So this is this is how it looks during the season, except for game day. That would be, and they're showing it right now. Max Scherzer is on the mound warming up. So game day, they usually have, as you know, the field, the pitcher, the batter, and all that stuff with the strike zone and all that stuff. They don't do it during spring training, so it's hard to visualize it. But if you want to go and check, if you're new to the channel, to see what it looks like, you can go to one of my live streams from last year and you can have an idea. So the Mets are on the field. The Nationals are coming up, and we are going to get ready for New York Mets baseball. Max Scherzer on the mound. So let me raise up the volume and let me know in the comments, guys, if you can hear SNY. First pitch coming up.
First pitch is fouled back and we're underway. Abrams, a young shortstop acquired from San Diego and Juan Soto deal last summer. Just 22 years old, 6th overall pick by the Padres at high school in Georgia. He tries to drop down Cotton fouls it off.
And I see SNY with their pitch clock on the right side of the innings in a small black box. Very interesting.
Since we did that in Florida, it's hot and mostly sunny. The difference today is the wind. The wind is blowing harder than we've seen all spring, blowing out.
Nice little curveball. The wind's going to take that back to the infield. There we go. All right, you guys can hear it? Perfect.
Let's take a look at the Mets defense presented by the local Ford stores. McNeil in left field really is the eye-opener. Giorme and Braza up the middle. Nito getting the start behind the plate. And we do love Double E.
I'm going to try to refresh it to see if they start the game and show the score a little bit. That would be nice.
Paul trying to win a spot as a backup outfielder. Started his year in Cleveland last year. Finished it in Washington at 114 big league at-bats.
Oh, there we go. That's what I like to see. Perfect. There we go. Perfect.
Two batters, two pop-ups, two outs.
He dropped that one in the palm, though. It didn't make it to the pocket because of the wind. Sometimes, as an infielder, you're just fighting this the whole way, just making sure you get the leather on. It's not easy.
Down near the heel of the glove. Here's Luis Garcia hitting third in the order. The 22-year-old now second baseman takes a strike. Run line shortstop last year for the Nats. But now the full-time second baseman with the acquisition of C.J. Abrams. And sure, the curveball misses 1-1.
So a quick 2 outs for Scherzer.
Will carry 201 wins and 3,193 strikeouts to the mound this season. And with Justin Verlander, it'll form only the third pair of starters in the same rotation to have each won 3 Cy Young awards. Team with Kershaw and the Dodgers 2 years ago, and the '86 White Sox with Seaver and Carlton. That's the only time it's happened.
Nice little quick inning for Scherzer. All right, we like to see that. There we go. All right, so there you go, guys. 9 pitches for Scherzer, 1, 2, 3 inning, and the Mets are coming up in the bottom half. So once again, guys, don't forget, please hit on that like button. So that's what it looks like. Sorry, hold on 1 second. This whole craziness. Yeah, we don't need all that. All right, cool. All right, so sorry, the volume was up on the other website. All right, so guys, that's how it works. You're gonna see game day up there with my myself in the corner. You get live reactions from me and a couple of in-game thoughts and opinions and all that fun stuff, along with your comments and you guys following the game as well. And that's how it looks during the season as well. Of course, it'll be a lot more focused and really involved in the game. And of course, there'll be a lot more people in the stream as well. So, I mean, last year, I think I was averaging around 150 to 200 per game. It was a lot of fun and a lot of back and forth, especially when you're playing the Braves or the Phillies. which was always a lot of fun last year. And, keep on coming back for more because it is a lot of fun. Of course, before the game, we do a half-hour pregame, which would be called Mets Pregame Live during the season as well. So we're just waiting for the Mets to come back to hit in the bottom of the first, waiting for the commercial to end. So as you know, the game's going to be a lot quicker considering the pitch clock as well. So here we go, guys. Mets lineup is being announced. Here we go.
Mark Canha will get a turn in the leadoff spot today.
Mark Canha leading off.
Back DHing the start for Tommy Pham in center field. Luis Guillorme giving Francisco Lindor a day off. Playing shortstop, and there's the former Met Trevor Williams.
The swingman, the Swiss Army knife for the Mets last season. Can't say enough good things about the games that he pitched. His last start for the Mets was on October 5th against the Nats, 6 shutout innings. Maybe that's why he's in the Nats uniform.
Signed a 2-year, $13 million contract. Canha takes a big swing at his first pitch and comes up empty, 0-1. I think for Trevor, though, it wasn't so much about the fact that the Nats offered him a nice 2-year deal. It was the opportunity to be a starting pitcher on a regular basis again. I mean, he did a great job as a swingman, no question about it. 21 relief outings, 9 starts, and he was everything the Mets could have asked for last year. But he was a pretty successful starting pitcher back in his Pirates days and went over to the Cubs and kind of devolved into that swingman.
There we go. Base hit for Mark Canha.
To the hole for a leadoff single.
That's what we like.
But if you're Trevor Williams, you want to start every 5th day.
Yeah, you do. I mean, that's where he sees himself. 0-2 pitch, not a good one by Williams, and Canha was ready.
And with youngsters like Josiah Gray and Kate Cavalli and Mackenzie Gore,
Yeah, loyalty. Unfortunately, my boy Mikey got a new job, and it ended up being around the same time we were doing the show. Again, it wasn't something that was planned. It just so happened. And I'm never going to take money away from the guy, but I'm still going to do the show. But I'm going to have him on a couple of times, Mike, and of course Hayden as well, to do a recap of the week for the Mets, unfortunately.
When he threw 7 scoreless innings against the Marlins. Most of the time, though, when he filled in to start, he gave you 4 or 5 credible innings, which was enough to at least bridge the gap when the Mets had a need.
Or a Mets starter would get knocked out, and he pitched the last 3 innings or 4 innings and finished the game. It was remarkable what he did.
Talking to Buck Showalter this morning about what Williams did last year and how the Mets will try to replace that. Long hold by Trevor. And
get out.
On to deep right field,
Oh, the wind took that back. 1 out.
That is Stone Garrett. Officially Gregory Stone Garrett.
I don't know what this means, but no one bought the sponsor of the Nationals defense. But they should have.
Well, Mike, I mean, hey, I do have a pretty good feeling. I mean, Beatty's batting 500, Mauricio's batting 400. I don't see why you can't put both of them on the roster, but they got to play every day. They got to play every day. Oh, that might be a double play. Nope. All right, 2 outs. Canha goes to second.
Well, they've done a nice job at this ballpark, Gary. They've replaced all the grass. But this field, especially when you have this kind of weather, will get some tough bounces. And Garcia got one there and stayed with it.
So 2 out, a runner at second, and now Pete Alonso. He's 4 for 12 this spring with a couple of home runs.
I noticed Trevor Williams likes to get that pitch clock down to like 2 or 3. Interesting.
For the Major League lead. And he chops one behind the bag foul. 1-1. It's going to be a very different looking lineup for the Mets in a few days when everybody leaves for the WBC. The Mets have already had one player leave. That's Jonathan Arauz, who's going to play for Panama. He had to fly all the way to Taiwan, where Pool A is going to play, so they let him go a few days early. Which, it minimizes the number of times in camp that I can say a la who's.
I'm happy too.
See, I would love for Keith to sign my ball too, but he's not here.
Well, this broadcast is affectionately known as Gary, Ron, and Where's Keith broadcast.
On the outside corner,
Strike three call. All right, so that ends the bottom of the first. I'm still gonna get very used to this pitch clock because that was a pretty quick inning for sure. Yeah, really crazy how quick it goes the inning with the pitch clock. Yeah, loyalty. You know what? When it comes to the pitch, the rules in general, again, I'm not the biggest fan of the shift because I think if you're a major league hitter, you should be able to adjust to the shift at least a little bit. I mean, the majority of the reason why they changed why they banned the shift was because too many players complained about it because they're too lazy to at least hit the ball the other way. They don't like to adjust to what they should be doing. I mean, the whole idea of baseball or sports in general is to adjust to the opposing team and what they do, right? In basketball, if they do a certain defensive alignment and you have to score points, you're going to change your offense. You're going to change how you do things. The same thing when it comes to hockey, same thing that's going to be a football, right? If a defense does a cover 4, cover 3, or blitz, you change your offense based on what you think the other team's going to do. You adjust. Why can't you have the hitters adjust? I don't know. But I don't mind the shift too much. I think it's going to help the offensive numbers a little bit when it comes to that. The pitch clock, I think, is stupid. I really think it's stupid. Look, the first inning, we're not even 11 minutes into the game, and the first inning's over. Now, you can say, oh, well, it helps people who have to go to work the next day. I understand that. But for your entire life, you went to games knowing that you had to go to work the next day when you go into a game. You know a 7-10 game might end at 10:30. So, I don't know. And we'll talk about it a little bit more after the inning. Here we go. Top of the second. Scherzer on the mound. No score.
The Nats lost 107 games last year. And when you lose 107 games, there isn't a lot delightful to talk about. But Joey Meneses was the exception.
Probably doesn't come to the major leagues unless they have the kind of year they had last year. After August 2nd, he was remarkable, Derek.
11 years in the minor leagues. He had never been to a big league camp before this season. So we'll tapper back to Scherzer. And back to the soft toss.
One out.
Well, that's 2 throws to first for Max today. Neither one of them has been convinced.
So good, Joe. Look at that. You fall asleep, you miss an inning and one out in 12 minutes of the game so far.
And for those 7 weeks at the end of the season, he couldn't get him out.
You know, it's funny. I'm sure he put his head on his pillow many nights stuck in the minor league, said, if I get my chance, I'm going to make the most of it.
That's possible, loyalty.
Jamar Candelario, former Tiger, fouls one back. I mean, not only is Meneses in his first big league camp now, but he's going to play in the WBC for Mexico.
That's right.
Candelario, 5.5 years in Detroit. His star had dimmed a bit. And he was available for a 1-year, $5 million free agent contract. He's probably going to play most of the third base for the Nationals this year, but he hit just .217 last year, 13 home runs.
You know, 2 seasons ago, the Detroit Tigers looked like they were coming. They had a lot of guys like Candelario who had really good seasons. But boy, that came all crashing down last year.
Candelario DHing today. Takes one just off the corner. And it's 2-2. Well, what the Nats are hoping is that Candelario reuniting with Davey Martinez will be a positive for him. Davey was the bench coach with the Cubs when Candelario first came up, and they had a terrific relationship. And you know, Davey Martinez is one of those guys who can be inspiring.
End the lockout.
Maybe that'll get Candelario pointed back in the right direction.
Davey Martinez, just a very positive personality.
And Scherzer,
Ooh, just inside.
Well,
Ouch.
he's gone to the outside edge. He's gone to the inside edge, and Jeremy Riggs said no both times. After Alonzo got punched out on a pitch that might have been a shade off the corner. 3-2 to Candelario.
Ooh, nice curveball.
That's a new wrinkle for Max. A 3-2 curveball. And Escobar.
There you go, 2 outs.
Suit up this season at MLBshop.com. Check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your Mets at MLBshop.com.
He's throwing a lot of curveballs in his first 2 starts, and I'm wondering if his usage of that pitch will go up this season.
Well, he's been trying to impress upon Tyler McGill the importance of developing a curveball, so maybe he's trying to set a good example. He gets the slider in for a strike to Garrett. Well, if you were a relatively young pitcher on this Mets staff, and you have guys like Verlander and Scherzer to watch,
Ooh, nice play by Escobar. There you go. That's the end of the inning. Going to the bottom of the second, no score. 2 solid innings from Max Scherzer. And I believe he'll get a third inning. Probably throw about, I think he threw about, 20-something pitches so far? Let's see what he. Second, guys. Stupid. The stupid sound that when they go to the advertisements during the commercial break on the website on game day, very annoying. And when you mute it, it comes right back. It's so annoying. Yeah, exactly. When it comes to, I don't like the pickoff attempts. I think it hurts a lot of pitchers. You know, I always keep on bringing up Taijuan Walker because he has one of the best pickoff moves in the game. That limits one of the best things he does as a pitcher. And that's probably going to hurt his game a little bit. Absolutely it will. You know, knowing that your pickoff move has to get the guy at least the first 2 attempts, because if you don't get him the third attempt, the runner automatically gets the base. It's basically, you know, you're giving the guy a free base, and that's something that, you know, can mess with guys that have a really good pickoff move. Again, we'll see how that's going to affect people. Again, I don't like to look at everything in spring training. Like, I don't notice a lot of difference with the shift so far, but it is spring training, right? So that's something you just have to wait and see during the season, you know, especially like the last week of spring training when you got most of you guys in your lineup, most of the pitchers that are going to be in the open on the post on a regular team roster and major league roster is going to pitch more. It's going to be a lot to see when it comes to that, but we're really not going to know how it's going to look until we get to the regular season. I was talking about this with a couple of my coworkers at work. You can go to the bathroom, you can wait online for a drink or food, and look at that. The commercial didn't even end yet, and the game already started. You see what I'm saying? Everything's just so quick. All right, Vogelback is up. Bottom of the second, no score.
Few could have been happier when they announced the rule changes this year. Limiting the shifts, it's going to lead to a lot more hits for Vogelback, who has done a great job getting on base. And now with his polar-oriented swing, probably will have more balls sneak through the infield.
Well, you know, big hitters like Daniel are trying to hit the ball in the air, Gary, but they're going to make a mistake and catch the top of the ball sometimes, and just nice to be rewarded occasionally.
That's as far over, just about, as the shortstop's allowed to play. C.J. Abrams to the left of the bag. This will head out to left. And Alex Call coming on.
1 out.
I think even more so than the 2 infielders on each side. I think the limit on depth will pay more dividends for those left-handed bowlers.
100%, especially with Daniel Vogelbach, right? Who doesn't run that great, so they would play even deeper. Do we know, is there a mark behind the base that the shortstop and second baseman know, or they just have to?
There is not.
Okay.
Here's Tommy Pham. The way it was explained to us by MLB, you have to be to the right or left of the side corners of the bat.
Okay.
So there's about 26 inches between the 2 corners, right? It's an 18-inch square base now. So if you A squared plus B squared equals C squared. About 26 inches from corner to corner, side to side. And you have to stay to the left or right of that. So there's a 2-foot demilitarized zone.
Nice. Pythagoras doesn't make most broadcasts. Very good, Gary.
I'm not sure I can spell Pythagoras.
Yeah, loyalty. That doesn't count. You're going to see a lot more catchers throw over to the bases to try to pick off the runner because that doesn't count as an attempt. Only if the pitcher does it. Ooh. Williams looking good. Made Tommy Pham look terrible in that at bat. 2 outs.
Always like this pitch from Williams. Drops down from the right side. Kind of crossfires against Pham. Tommy's front side kind of opened up.
So 2 out now, Luis Guillorme playing shortstop today. We wound up starting 83 games for the Mets last year. More than half the games. Mostly at second base, but shortstop and third base as well. It was 6 years ago yesterday that the greatest play in the history of spring training was made, with Luis Guillorme standing on the dugout railing in this ballpark on a flying bat and saved several.
Brandon Nimmo was the main person.
Jeffrey, I do remember Gary Cohen talking about that.
Guillorme saving him from
And one of the events, Gary talked about that.
And that's really the day that the world learned about Luis Guillorme and Las Manos de Oro, hands of gold.
It's not only that he
Wow, that pitch clock went to 1 before Trevor Williams threw that pitch.
Caught the bat as though he had done it.
Man, it's showing Nimmo and Darryl Strawberry. How about that?
With aplomb.
it's like a carnival act. You can take it on the road.
How about that? Nimmo and Strawberry together in the dugout. That's outfield royalty. Still Garrett makes the catch.
Alrighty, so 2 innings in the book, and it took 20 minutes to get through 2 innings of the game. Welcome to pitch clock baseball. It's like Stratomatic. Crazy. All right, guys, so there we go right there. We're going to the top of the third, and it took 21 minutes to get to the first 2 innings of the game. Hey, what are you going to do, right? Just give me a second, guys. I just want to fix this part. Very annoying. Still doing it. Oh, well. All right. So, after 2, we got no score. We got Scherzer going through 2 innings. So far, I believe he's going to come out for a third. I do believe that he will be most likely probably pitching only 3 innings. Probably close to 40 pitches or so in his second start of the spring. And once again, guys, tomorrow, Justin Verlander gets his first start of the season. Oh, spring, excuse me. And Senga gets his first start of the spring on Sunday. Both games won't be televised on SNY because they're both on the road. And SNY doesn't travel to road ballparks during spring training. So it won't be on TV. But just like all the highlights that we see from Ronnie Mauricio on the road in other ballparks, you're going to see a couple of videos and maybe some social media things where you will see Senga, see Verlander and how they do, and all types of highlights from that situation. So, once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. We are going to be here until the end of the game, whenever that may be, and we'll do a little recap of the game right after that, and then call it quits for today. So, the third inning is about to start. Interesting. Rays batters could hear pitch com. So yesterday in the Twins Tampa game, the Rays batters could hear the pitch com. Maeda was signaling to his catcher. That's crazy.
Back in the garbage can, or however you relay pitches that you might have picked up to a hitter. I'm sure he's got the pitch com. He calls own pitches now.
Maybe he's got to keep it in his own language. That would make it more decipherable.
Oh, that would be interesting. Scherzer working very quickly against Ildemaro Vargas, and that ball's going to stay
Ah,
there.
that
Escobar
sucks.
has no play. Vargas is the first Washington base.
Infield hit.
I mean, just excuse me trying to stay in the at-bat swing. That second bounce had so much spin on it, it bounced closer to fair territory than going foul.
So leadoff base runner for the Nats. Scherzer out of the stretch for the first time, facing Victor Robles. The Nats still have not given up on Victor Robles for all of the troubles that he's gone through the last 4 years. He's still only 25 years old, and they're still hoping he'll hit because his glove is good enough that they want it in the lineup every day. Scherzer with a long hold. He's experimenting. It seems like every time he goes out there, whether it's in the intra-squad games or these first couple of starts in spring training, he's trying to figure out how to best utilize that pitch clock to his advantage.
He's trying to quick pitch now, so that made Robles step out. That means Robles can't step out the rest of the at-bat.
So that's his time, and now Scherzer quick pitches him, and that's a balk.
What?
The home plate umpire Jeremy Riggs says that Scherzer did not stop as he tried to quick pitch Robles. That's the case.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what Max was doing is he was holding the ball for a long time, then delivered the pitch. Then he tried to quick pitch Robles on the next pitch, but Robles stepped
See,
out.
this is going to be a problem this year for a lot of
Robles
pitchers.
on the quick pitch as soon as Robles got back in there. But so even though he's back in, he's not looking up. He's not ready for the at-bat. And that becomes a very dangerous thing for a hitter versus a hitter. And that's why the umpire called it.
So you think it was because the hitter was not alert
No,
on pitch rather than the fact that he didn't come to a stop?
No, I think it's both. I think that the feel the umpire had is that he didn't come to a stop. He really quick pitch there. But also, umpire can see that the hitter's not looking, the ball's on its way. You know, it just looked fishy.
I mean, you were never allowed to throw a pitch before the hitter was alert to the pitcher, even before the pitch clock. That would have been an illegal pitch last year and resulted in a balk, or with nobody on base, a ball. Now it's, with Scherzer trying to gain an advantage. There's the timeout.
So he knows that he can't step out again.
And he's already set now. But, yeah, I think that you're right. Yeah, Robles had not yet looked up when Scherzer started his motion. Tapper, the runner will advance. He bobbles it. We don't see that very often. Uribe normally a vacuum. Probably long enough for Robles to use his speed to beat it out. That'll be an error.
Yeah, subtle little late bounce that came up and got him on the heel of the glove.
Well, something that's going to be very interesting this year with these pitchers. Again, you know, when there's a pitch clock, if the batter, the rule is if the batter's in the batter's box, the pitcher can get ready to throw his pitch. So I just don't get it. So if a batter never looks up for the most of the time, the pitcher can't throw the ball. That's kind of odd. Ground ball should be a double play. It might be a little slow. Double play. Uh-oh. Oh, a pitching violation. Wow. What the hell?
So Scherzer, the pitcher who has been best trying to utilize the pitch clock, has run afoul of it a couple of times in this inning.
I have no idea what happened, but you're right. That's I thought he wasn't running because it was a foul ball.
So Adams knew that the clock had run out.
Yeah.
Because the umpire probably made a signal. And on a violation like that, where the play continues, the offensive team would have the choice. Robles runs. The throw to second is not in time. Robles steals the base.
Wow.
Let's go back to the clock violation. You see Scherzer did not lift the leg before the clock went to zero.
Yep, it was a pitch violation.
Why did he swing?
Well, because if the pitch is made and you get a hit, you can take the results of the play.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
like with a ball.
Wow, there's so many other rules that involve the pitch clock. So the offensive team can still play it out after the pitch, even if the pitch violation happens. Wow.
Gamesmanship and upsetting the hitter's rhythm and upsetting your own tempo.
Well, I think, though, that it's March 3rd.
Oh, no, I like trying.
And this is the time to experiment. I'm sure when you get to March 30th and opening day, he will have figured out what works and what doesn't. Right?
No, 100%. It's just, it has an unusual rhythm here. Because he's just standing in the stretch.
Strike three.
And as soon as the batter gets his footing, he's letting it go. So he is upsetting the timing, or he certainly upset the timing.
This is very odd.
I get your point. Sometimes if you're upsetting the timing of the hitter, you can have that read down to the hitter's advantage if you were upsetting yourself. So Scherzer has his first strikeout, 1 out. Runner still at second and third. Here's C.J. Abrams. And that's grounded down to Alonso. Tough play for Pete. Scherzer gets over to cover, and they get the out as a run comes home.
All right, nice play by Pete, staying in there.
So Vargas scores on the ground out. This recovery by Pete on another offbeat hop on that right side of the infield.
Yeah, infield feels a little choppy today. The one Escobar came up a little. We've already seen 2 grounders to that right side. Pete stayed with that nicely.
So it's an unearned run for the first run of the day. And here's Alex Call with a runner at third and 2 out. And he tries to bunt his way on. 2 out and a runner at third.
If I'm the manager, I want my young man to swing the bat. A bunt on March 3rd does nothing for me to evaluate whether you should be playing in the big leagues.
Especially after Hall drilled a double against Scherzer to drive and run the last time he faced him.
Nice curveball.
First strike, it's 0-2.
So watch Max. He's doing something I haven't seen so far. As soon as he's ready, he just comes to the stretch. And even if the batter has not stepped in yet, he's waiting. This time they do it together.
And he can come set as soon as he wants.
Yeah.
And as soon as that batter is alert to him in the box, he can pitch. Did you see the Wandy Peralta at bat yesterday?
I did, 20 seconds.
I mean, Scherzer had a 27-second strikeout in his first start against Joey Meneses. This was a 20-second strikeout.
Oh, is that the next stat we're going to get, that he leads the National League in 25-second or less?
Yes, sir, Ted. Yes, sir.
Now, the hitter can control that to a certain extent because, he can wait a little bit before getting back in the box. You have 20 seconds with a runner on base, and you have to be in and alert at 8. So if Scherzer's set at 14, you don't have to be in there at that point. You can wait, like Call's waiting right now.
But Adams waited, and then as soon as he got in there, the pitch was on its way.
Well, again, there is a fine line as to what's legal and not. And Scherzer's already called for the ball once, and that's called for the ball. Base hit for Cole.
2-0 Nationals.
This was the second run of the inning. So Cole able to hook that one through the hole, and it's 2-0 Washington.
The breaking ball finds a hole to the right of Diorme. Good at bat by Call.
So 2 runs in, Cole at first.
Very interesting so far of the pitch clock violation and what happened during this at bat, this inning so far with Scherzer. Oh, goodbye.
Forget that. That's going to be back on the berm and up into the concourse. A healthy shot by Luis Garcia for his first home run of the spring. A 2-run shot. It's 4-0 Washington. Garcia hit 7 home runs last year, and he hit the tar of that one, or the wind following it. that one went a long way.
Huh.
He is one of baseball's unknown young hitters. His bat-to-ball skills are up there with a lot of the young good players.
That was against the wind, too. That was a shot.
Stronger, only 22 years old.
It's all right, Ted. I don't worry about results. He's working on the pitchers. I'm not too worried about that. Second start of the year.
The balk and the clock violation. He made the point that maybe Max got himself out of rhythm.
Oh.
The payoff of that one goes right through the wickets on Guillorme. It flattened out coming off the lip of the infield, and Guillorme couldn't keep the apron down, and it's his second error of the inning. Stop the presses. Never thought I'd live long enough to see that.
Throw that at him. He'll catch it.
I mean, really.
It hit right here. Watch it stay down instead of come up. And remember the last play he made an error on? The ball didn't stay down. It came up. So, wrong on both accounts.
And Francisco Lindor talking to Buck Showalter, commiserating with Guillorme and talking about, I'm sure, the conditions on the infield. We've mentioned it a couple of times this spring.
Yeah, I agree. And you know what? He's not going to be the only one.
Here at Tradition.
The veteran pitchers are going to have a hard time with this for sure.
Years since they have replaced it.
And it's probably going to take longer than
Sometimes it
some
takes
part of the season to at least get comfortable enough.
become properly conditioned, and certainly we've seen some offbeat hops today.
They talk about a field settling, you know?
Like a house.
So, yeah, there you go.
J.R. Candelario, the eighth, made it out of the inning. So it's been a mess of an inning for Scherzer and the Mets. A balk, 2 errors, and a tape measure home run by Luis Garcia.
Evan, it's spring training.
First time up.
I mean, come on.
And that one's in a right center for a base hit. The inning continues. Meneses will go first to third. It's tracked down by Pham. Into second base comes Candelario with a double. The 4th hit of the inning against Scherzer.
This is a change up here that stays up in the strike zone. And Candelario was all over it. Almost split the outfielders, and that would have scored Meneses. But nice play by the center fielder. Getting to it, Tommy Pham, and getting it in.
So now Stone Garrett, the 9th man to bat in the inning, rounded out his first time up. Fastball away from Scherzer. Max threw just 21 pitches combined in the first 2 innings. He's now throwing 26 in this 3rd inning. I don't know whether they were going to cap him today. Threw 2 innings in his first start. Trying to get through this 3rd inning. And it's been a slog.
I've had starts like this in spring training, probably way too many. But there comes a time sometimes in these games, because you're not lengthened out, that you can't believe how you're going to get this last out to get out of the inning. That's how mentally fatigued, maybe not as physically fatigued.
This time Scherzer started to stretch, but Garrett was standing outside the bat box. I see what you're saying, Roddy.
Right.
He might be messing with his own mind.
Well, listen, he's had a Hall of Fame career, pitching to his tempo. Just because they changed the rules, don't get crazy about pitching to a new tempo.
All right, so Garrett just called time, and Max is set already. Garrett gets in, and he delivers quickly, and it's slowly hit, and he might beat this out. The throw by Escobar just to
Oh.
it out. Looks like an out from here. And there's no replay system in spring training, so it's 5-0 Washington, and that's going to be all for Scherzer. As Buck Showalter scurries out to the mound.
50 pitches, and it ends the day for Scherzer.
Looked like it was the 3rd out. And Max will leave, unable to complete the 3rd inning. A balk, a couple of errors, a long home run, 5 hits, and 5 runs for the Nats. Scherzer out. We'll be right back.
All righty, guys. So Scherzer's out of the game. 2 2/3, couple of runs, 5 runs, couple of unearned there as well. So yeah, I mean, you could see right away. And again, you're gonna see this throughout the league for sure. when it comes to veteran pitchers not being used to the pitch clock. You know, the younger pitchers that might have come through the minor leagues and seen it are probably more used to it than the veterans. You see it right away. It's very interesting to see. So it is very interesting to look at. But again, you know, when you've done something all your life, and this goes for a lot of veteran pitchers, you got to adjust to it. You know, I still don't think Scherzer did anything wrong in that spot. I just don't understand how the batter has the right to not, he can be in the batter's box, but if he's not a quote unquote aware of looking at the pitcher, then the pitcher can't throw the ball until there's 8 seconds left in the clock, which is weird to me because, like, so the pitcher can have 2 feet in the box, look down, and not look up at the pitcher until 8 seconds when he officially has to be aware of the pitch coming. Like, it's stupid. It's like, then you shouldn't have that rule then. Like, it's either you're in the box or you're not. If you got 2 feet in the box, you better get ready. Like, I don't know. It's weird. It is weird, but you got listen. The rule's the rule. You don't adjust to it, you're not gonna have a fun year. That's just basically it. But yeah, it wasn't good, Travis, for sure. Travis, are you going on that 7-line boat trip the day after opening day? So yeah, it's a little crazy, but you gotta adjust. All right, David Griffin is in for the Mets with 2 outs in the third.
The Nats have batted around in the third inning. Ildemaro Vargas, who began it with an infield hit, up for a second time, and takes the pitch high for ball 1. Well, it was a frustrating and rather eye-opening experience for Scherzer in that inning. Infield hits, errors, a balk, pitch clock violation, a long 2-run homer, close play at first base that ended his day.
Max is always the same, though. Whether it's a great outing or a bad outing, he talks it out.
Well, I go back to he's trying to experiment to see what the rules will bear, and he might have out-experimented himself today, but again, better on March 3rd than March 30th.
100%.
All the runs will be unearned against his mark. Not that it matters. It's, nothing matters anyway. Deep in the gap, the wind's going to take this one and take one hop over the wall.
Didn't even look like he hit it that hard. The wind blew that one.
That brings up Candelario with the 6th run of the inning. So David Griffin is greeted rudely. Figured it might be a high-scoring day with the wind blowing out. And that one, another day, might have been playable, but not here.
Hanging breaking ball here. So Vargas splits the outfielders. And if you're playing kind of shallow here, the ball's you're just not going to get to it because of the wind.
Second hit of the inning for Vargas. Now 2 in scoring position for Victor Robles. Reached on the first of 2 errors committed by Guillorme in this inning. So Scherzer threw 21 pitches, 6 up, 6 down in the first 2 innings. Wound up throwing 29 pitches in the third inning. 50 in all, over 2 2/3.
We're also discussing in between innings, the Nationals have a lot of young players that have spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. They're more used to these rules than any veteran in baseball would be.
That's a good point. They have a little more institutional knowledge than Scherzer does. Robles flares one behind Alonzo, and that's going to fall for a hit. Everything's falling for the Nats. They'll get 2 more runs out of this. It's an 8-run inning. A blue double by Victor Robles brings in the most recent 2.
Well, Robles gets the ball in on the fist right there. It was strong enough to get it over the head of Alonzo. And easily 2 more runs come in.
So 7 runs charged to Scherzer, all unearned. And now Riley Adams, the 12th man up in the inning, struck out for the first out of the second, and now he gets hit by a pitch. And so the
Alrighty. It's a long third inning here.
rolling.
Well, I'm just putting myself in David Griffin's shoes, right? Hasn't really made a good pitch yet. Now catches the wrist of Riley Adams. Second,
Yeah, it looks like it's head. It looks like a wiffle ball game.
Very easily, Scherzer gets through it. Probably the last thing you think is you're going to pitch. You're always supposed to be ready, but it's only human not to be when Max is on the mound.
Yeah, they have the minor leaguers over here to do exactly this, finish an inning if one of the more established pitchers can't complete it. But C.J. Abrams up for the third time already. Rounded out to for the first run of this 8-run inning.
Probably the call came down. Get Griffin up. David Griffin? Yeah, David Griffin. Get up.
Better David than Peter. Stewie.
Merv.
Yeah, Joe, maybe.
David Griffin, a Massachusetts native. Grew up in Hanover. Went to Curry College.
I don't know either the town or the college.
Curry College is in Milton, Mass.
Here at the private school there, the Milton Academy. Milton, Mass, the home of Bobby Witt, senior, not junior.
I thought Bobby was from Canton, Mass.
Maybe he is from Canton. But how about the left field?
South of the city.
Maybe.
And the inning finally comes to
There we go. After 8 runs in the third, the game is finally going to the fourth inning. Great to see. We like that. So after 3 innings, or at least 2.5 innings, the Mets are down 8-0. So once again, guys, when it comes to Max Scherzer or any veteran pitcher, it's going to be an adjustment period. That's why you have spring training, right? To learn the adjustments and the rules and everything like that. You know, it was a split second where the pitch clock ran out, and also Scherzer threw the ball too fast when the batter wasn't looking. But they also said that when the batter gets in the box, the pitcher's allowed to throw. So it's kind of an umpire decision, right? It's a judgment call at that point, right? If the pitch clock is not at 0 and the batter can get into the box, has to be in the box by 8 seconds. But if he's in the box and not looking up and it's 14 seconds left or 13 seconds left, you can't throw the pitch. It's going to be very confusing for sure. It seems a little bit more, that's why the pitch clock is stupid. Seriously, it really is. Like, once again, this is not minor league baseball. All right, this is not softball. This is not little league. Like, you go to the game, you're there. All right, everybody, when you go to a baseball game, not the casual fan who doesn't care about the game. When you're an avid baseball fan, you go to the game knowing you're going to be there at least 3.5 hours. That's it. You don't like it, don't go to the game. When you're at home, you don't have to watch the game. That's something that you have to look at. All right, so here we go. Bottom of the third. Joan Adon is in for the Nationals. 8-0 Nationals. No unearned runs, no earned runs to Scherzer, but that doesn't really matter. And Steve Gelbs is talking to Darryl Strawberry right now. Let's listen in.
As always, it's been a long time since you've been at Mets camp. Just what's the experience been like for you these last few days?
It's really been really good, due to the fact that I don't get a chance to be around baseball that much and have the opportunity to come down here and the invitation, to the general manager and Buck. I decided to take it because I need a break in life. Sometimes you just need to come back to be a part of what you know is good, and that's baseball.
When you, as the ball gets thrown away, so runner safe, but when you say getting back to what you know and you love in life, and that's baseball. Just what have the conversations been like with these players? What have you taken away from some of the interactions?
It's really been fun, to be able to talk to them and see how they think and, really want to try to get to the next level. And what I mean by the next level, that means winning. How do you go from one place to the next place? I think that's what it was for us when we won 98 games and 85, and then we went to 86 and we came into that spring training. And right there, Davey Johnson said we're going to win it all. And we kind of looked at each other, but we got off to a slow start. But from that slow start into going into the next place play, I think we just took off when we came out of St. Louis, and we just took off. And we
Keaton, how you doing?
We wanted to accomplish that year. And I think for these players to experience that last season and what they feel like after losing in the playoffs, realizing that, we got to do something else to climb over the next team to get to the next team. So I think they understand that, and I think they're looking forward to it.
So it's so interesting that you talk about this, because I know a lot of guys have said their first experience last year in the playoffs was a bit of an eye-opener. What is it that takes a team to that next level? What are you telling these guys that it takes to get over the hump?
Well, I think the most important thing is believing in each other. And I think that was so great about us and our team. That year in 86, we believed in each other and we cared for each other. We had each other back, even though we were wild, crazy, yes, in-house fighting and everything. But
what?
But it's like all the things that happen. But I'm saying when you step on the field,
Peraza with a shot. That ball might be gone. It is. Peraza with a 2-run home run. All right.
So the Mets on the board. Nito will cross home. There goes Peraza. Darryl Strawberry, the good luck charm. It's 8-2 Nationals.
Why wouldn't I be having fun? The score of spring training doesn't matter.
I think that was a good thing about our chemistry. We knew when we stepped on the field, we were going to be tough to beat. We knew every series that we went into, we wanted to win the series. And that's what we accomplished more than anything. And sometimes, when you came to State Stadium, you'd be lucky to get out of there in a 4-game series with one win because we wasn't going to give you much.
So, I don't know if you've had a chance to talk at all with Francisco Alvarez, but you guys had very similar paths just in terms of the projection. You were the first overall pick, one of, if not the top prospect in baseball. He's the top prospect in baseball right now. What do you have to do to essentially cash in on the hype as a player individually?
You have to work hard. You have to really listen to your coaches. I think when I got to the big leagues and came to the ballpark, with the hype, being 21, and I came late one day, and Jim Fry pulled me to the side and said, I'm never going to wait for you again. If you want to be a great player, just level, you get to the ballpark early every day.
Then that win is crazy.
Well, you kept that answer short because of the out, but you can keep going.
But what he has to do is he has to focus on not what he's strong at. He's got to focus on what he's weak at. And that's what Jim Fry taught me. I'm strong as a hitter. I know I'm going to do all that. But what about the other parts of the game? And that's what Jim Fry made me come to the ballpark and work on. It wasn't just about hitting. It was working about being in the ballpark, working on defense, running the bases, whatever it is that I need to work on, because you really truly have to work on all aspects of your game. If you don't, you're going to come up short and you're going to struggle. And then when your hitting struggle and your other part is not there, then you completely fall apart. And that's what they don't want to happen to a young player like that.
And Vannon going to the top of the fourth, 8-2 Nationals. Let's see who's going to be coming in. Edwin Diaz is coming into the game. He was warming up in the ball. In the top of the fourth. So once again, guys, the pitch clock is still very interesting. Not just what happened to Scherzer, but again, at how quick an inning can go when you don't get hits and you get struck and you get quick outs, and that inning can happen very, very quickly. I mean, it speeds up the game. There's no doubt about that. Again, I'm very hit or miss with that, to be honest with you. I just don't like the pitch clock. The bigger bases, the pickoffs, the shift, I'm not too crazy with, but whatever, that's fine. I don't think that's the end of the world. I think the pitch clock changes the game a little bit too much. It speeds up the game that doesn't really need to be sped up. in my opinion. I mean, even in between pitches, you can barely have a conversation. You can even hear the announcers trying to get their points across before the next pitch. It's a little odd when it comes to that, but it's part of the game now. And you just got to deal with it. That's the unfortunate part. So once again, guys, we're going to the top of the fourth, 8-2 Nationals. You see it on the screen right now. Once again, this is what it's going to look like during the season, during live stream games, during the Mets season. So make sure you keep on coming back for more. Again, this is a spring training game. Not everybody's really, really, really into it and getting there. But last year was a lot of fun, and we're going to keep on doing it again this year, hopefully for more games and be ready to go for the 2023 season. And if you notice something, the commercials are a little bit longer than usual as well. It's usually around 2.5 minutes for a commercial break between half innings. And here he is, Edwin Diaz, on the mound with a new contract. See what he can do.
Today, and sign up to be the first to learn how to be a part of it. Well, the trumpets are sounding in the fourth inning. Must be spring training.
So the first 55 minutes of the game, we're through 3 innings.
To try and get everybody on Team Puerto Rico to go blonde for the WBC. Second outing of the spring for Edwin, who had one of the most phenomenal seasons a reliever has ever had last year. 1.31 ERA, 17.1 strikeouts per 9. Finished 9th in the Cy Young balloting. And he comes on here to face Alex Call, who had an RBI single in the third and a circus catch in the last half inning. You would think that when you go out to the outfield on a day like today, you would know how the wind is blowing and have an idea that the ball might carry a bit.
You do, but you don't want to do what one of the fielders did yesterday, and that's play all the way back and the ball jump in front of you.
Kind of comes on, grabs it at knee level for the first down.
Yesterday, the player went all the way back and then couldn't come back in time, and this one just drifted on him. The ball players say that's 3 circles and a dive.
Well, he had just watched Jose Peraza's home run sail beyond him. Before that, here's Luis Garcia with a monstrous home run to the back of the berm in right field against Max Scherzer in the third.
Diaz faced 235 hitters last year and struck out 118. More than half batters he faced. I don't think I'd ever say that on a broadcast.
It's almost impossible. And Diaz, unlike most relievers, probably will not be fazed by the pitch clock. He tends to work quickly, although that time he needed an extra sign and ran the pitch clock down almost to the dump. But he's generally worked at a very rapid pace.
Nasty slider there.
Even on Garcia, 2-2. Last year's performance earned Diaz a new 5-year contract. And, the performance of relief pitchers tends to be mercurial. He just missed with that fastball, 3-2. But based off what we've seen the last couple of years, it seems as though Diaz has gotten to the point where if there is a sure bet among relief pitchers, maybe he's in. And the slider misses for ball 4. Interesting choice there on 3-2 for a 1-out walk.
Jerry, it's also the perfect storm as we look at some of the greatness of Diaz last year. You know you're going to have a good ball club here. You've got to have someone to close those games. Why not have someone that you covet because you know what he can do? You've seen him.
1 out, 1 on Joey Meneses. Edwin is particularly thrilled going to WBC because he gets to play with his brother Alexis. They have never been on the same team before. They're 3 years apart, so coming up through school, they never played together. As Meneses takes it one the other way for a base hit. He's going to challenge Canna as Garcia tries to go to third, and he makes it easily. So a couple of hard-hit balls wrapped around one against Diaz, first and third and 1 out.
The young Nationals came to play this afternoon. Not messing around. going the other way. This is what we saw from Meneses a lot last year in those 7 weeks at the end of the season. Nice job here by Garcia. Off of the bat, that ball is a line drive to right field, still able to take the extra base.
Somebody opined the other day, it might have been Buck, that runners are going to be able to go better from home to second or first to third because the bases are bigger. Because there's that much more room to make your cut a little bit tighter.
That's a good point.
That's slapped down to third. Maybe a chance for two. Escobar to second, one on to first.
Oh, almost double play.
Beaten out by Candelario, and that brings home a run to make it 9-2. Candelario not fast, but he's able to beat the wrap.
Yeah, Joe, I don't like it. I tell you, I really don't like it.
Well, nice hustle by Candelario. Escobar did everything he could, put a little extra mustard on that throw, and so did Peraza. Can't turn it any better than that, but just beaten by Candelario. I also think because of the pitcher's inability to hold runners as close as they have in the past, it's going to give you an extra step or so in that secondary lead if you're on first base to go first to third.
Welcome back, Ryder. Right back to Diaz. So Edwin surrenders a run.
And ends the inning, gives up 1 run, 9-2, going to the bottom of the 4th. There we go. So yeah, I know. Look, there's still a lot of conversation about the pitch clock. Like, I can guarantee you it's going to affect every team in baseball at some point during the season, no matter if it's mentally messing up with a pitcher or, because I still believe by the umpire. It's very interesting, very, very interesting. I'm very curious to see how it's going to be during the season, but there's going to be times. I'm telling you, we already seen it. A game end in spring training. Will the umpires actually end the game because of a violation? We'll see. But I still think it's going to be on a judgment call. Yeah, well, Hector, I even said it that commercials, they added about 15 to 20 seconds for commercials for every half inning. So, the game time is ended. But again, it's rushed. The pace of play wasn't because the games took so long. The whole point of the pitch clock was to have pace of play, right? So there's more action during the game, not to have a game basically be cut in half or at least cut, the game ends 45 minutes early. It's the pace of play. But you're speeding up a bad quality of baseball, aren't you? Like, the problem is nobody can hit. Everybody strikes out. Batters get out of the batter's box every single time. It's very odd. Like, it just seems like, the shift rule, I can understand why they did it. And, that helps the pace of play because more bats are on the ball, more balls are going to get through the hole. I get that. The pitch clock just seems that it's going to mess up the pitcher. It clearly messing up the batter. You see batters jump into the batter's box, realizing that there's a couple of seconds left they can get into the box. Everything seems rushed, and I don't like it. Look, the inning's back already. Alonso is up, 9-2 Nationals in the bottom of the ninth. Bottom of the 4th, excuse me.
Allowed a 2-1 homer to Jose Peraza in the third. He took a call third strike from Trevor Williams his first time up. Well, Williams pitched well, 2 scoreless innings. And Pete smacks one to center field, and Robles is right there, and that's the first out. Don't miss a single Mets moment with the SNY app. Scan the code and download today. You notice they're writing the promos a little shorter this year? They better out of fit them in.
Got to be send all our writers to the Orwellian school so they can work on their reduction in words.
E. Hemingway.
There you go.
I mean, we're going to have to work on that too, right? It's Vogelbach takes a cut of the curveball and comes up empty 0-2. We're going to have to edit ourselves better.
Well, a couple of us might.
What do you mean?
I mean, there's no edit in number 17.
Well, he might just have
Yeah,
to.
I agree with you, Hector. I just don't like the pitch clock. I think everybody's rushed for no reason.
Most of the times we'll just run.
It's not making better baseball because you're making the batter and the pitcher throw the ball faster. That's a shot. But center field should get it. There you go. Yeah, I don't know.
So happy at the fact that he will be back in Sag Harbor a half an hour earlier that he will be overjoyed to cut down on his verbiage.
I mean, he's loving the 2 hours and 38 minute spring training games. We'll see if that plays once the season starts.
You know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this yet, so I'm not going to say it now because it's going to be the third out.
Say anything
All right,
about
bottom of the fourth is over. 9-2 Nationals going to the top of the fifth. Yeah, exactly, Hector. It's actually interesting, actually. Yeah, again, there's going to be games during the season that are going to end on violations. I'm telling you. It's going to be very interesting, to be honest with you. It's definitely going to be very interesting, for sure. But we'll see. Yeah, audio is not copyrighted, unless it's music. Let's see. And I think YouTube does a pretty good job of copyrighting every single thing. So they do a good job on that. So again, there's many channels that play the sounds of the game. So in radio, TV, yes, as long as you're not showing the actual TV broadcast, you're fine. Trust me, I asked and I found out. Jeff Uber says your uncle is a lawyer for SNY, so that means he's an Wilpon employee. Oh, that's even worse. All right, we're going to the top of the fifth. Mets trail 9-2 in the spring training game in Port St. Lucie. Once again, guys, Verlander and Sanger pitch the next 2 days. Verlander tomorrow, Sanger on Sunday, but they won't be televised on SNY because they're both on the road. So we're going to see highlights probably on Twitter from both of those pitchers. So that's where we are right now. And we're going to the top of the fifth. Here we go.
innings, he'll throw it up into the berm. The kids will all tussle for it.
Berm is the place to be on an 89-degree, partly cloudy afternoon.
Ottavino's on the mound for the Mets.
Keep you comfortable. Adam Ottavino on the pitch in the fifth inning. And throws a knee-high strike to Ildemaro Vargas, who had 2 hits in the Nationals' 8-run third. Ottavino had a terrific year last year. He's now 37 years old.
Woo!
It's in the air to center field.
Way up there. Look at that wind blow it.
Gives some ground with the wind, and it puts it away 1 out.
Yeah, Ted, I came back a week ago, so. Actually, I came back on Monday, excuse me. But yeah, I was already in Port St. Lucie last week, this time.
So, you know,
I've been at the inter-squad game.
training is to come down early and do a handful of games, and then leave you guys to others to carry you through the rest of spring training.
Caretaker over there with the Seton Hall Pirates.
Yeah, I mean, there's basketball to be done. So this is my last game today till opening day. I'll see you March 30th in Miami. Maybe see you the night before.
Little dinner on the 29th. Come on.
Dinner on the 29th. I think that's fair. 0-2 to roll. So that means that, others.
Yeah, Hector, it's a lot.
We've had a
That's half the games for the year.
over the years, and we'll have some new
But I am glad we get that West Coast trip out of the way in the first 2 weeks of April of the season.
Kevin Fitzgerald, who's a lot of minor league games. He will be filling in. Gary Apple will be down for several games. But over the course of the last few years, there's been one name missing from the play-by-play roster. And
Missing or never thought of?
well, he has been thought of, but he never thought that he would do it. Quick inning is Ryan.
All right, nice quick inning going to the bottom of his fifth. 9-2 Nationals. Very, very, very interesting. Once again, guys, it's going to take some time to get used to this pitch clock. Everything is just so quick. Yeah. Are they on the West Coast that many times this year? Yeah, because of the balance schedule. But the big one is out of the way, though, early on, the 10-game road trip on the West Coast. We should be that gets out of the way. I know there's smaller ones, but not that many. Let me just pull it up really quick. We'll take a look at it really quick. All right, let's see. Yeah, I know we go on the West Coast trip, of course. Why are they only showing the home games? Interesting. Yeah, very interesting, to be honest with you, with that. How that works. But, hey, what are you going to do? Yeah, San Diego. Oakland, Dodgers, Giants. Yeah, then we do another one in July as well. So, Arizona, San Diego, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, you go on the West Coast a couple of times, but the big one is in April, the 10-game road trip on the West Coast where you face the Oakland, the Dodgers, and the Giants. So the Bay Area twice and Southern California. So that is hey, the balance schedule is going to be interesting though. At least you play everybody, you play less times in your division, kind of weird, but we'll see. All right, bottom of the fifth, 9-2 Nationals.
Edwards Jr. will come on to pitch for the Nationals as we go to the bottom of the fifth.
Yeah, big year last year. He's a big part of this bullpen for 2023 for the Nationals.
Luis Guillorme leads off, flight out to right his first time up, and we check in with future play-by-player Steve Gelbs.
Gary, I mentioned before that it's a great week. Mets Hall of Famers left and right. Here's another one. We talked to Darryl Strawberry. Now we got Edgardo Alfonzo. Edgardo, again, great to see all of you guys here. When you're in camp, what specifically are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do when you either watch or talk to these young players?
I think both. You have to see the guys and see how they're feeling and what they're working on, and because this is what it's counts.
Sorry, Sean, no problem.
You got to work on something.
Spring training for all of us.
And then sometimes you got to see the guys and try to teach what you've been told in the past, and then sometimes it looks like it's worked for the guys, so you feel happy for it.
You have a unique perspective on a few of these guys because when you managed in Brooklyn, you managed some of them. So, whether it's McGill or Peterson or Beatty, what is it like seeing them then versus where they are right now?
I'm so happy. I'm so happy for them because they great talent, great group of kids. They play so hard, and then it's fun because when you see those guys for the first time, and when I saw in Brooklyn with being drafted by college, and now you see this guy speed training, 40-man roster, and speed training with the big leagues. So you say, "Wow, man, this is nice. I'm so happy for them, and the way they've been playing so far is great."
You also have a unique perspective because you played in Japan at the end of your career in 2009. So you kind of have an idea of what Senga's going through coming over to America for the first time. What is that transition like when you go to play in a brand new league, brand new culture like that?
Yeah, when I went to Japan, it was kind of like, it was fun. I mean, I really enjoyed it over there. And I know
Nito hits a shot. That's gone. Taco. opposite field home run for Tomas Nido.
Brooklyn. That's pretty nice. It's kind of hard for them because they're coming overseas, all the way from Asia. They're coming over here, learn a new culture, like I did when I went to Japan, and then try to figure it in with the guys. But the good thing is that everybody try to treat this guy really nice and make it feel like at home.
Edgardo, I always wanted to ask you about the end of your career because obviously you were such a great player in the majors for as long as you were playing in the major leagues, but you held on. You played independent ball, you played in Japan, you really kept going. What kept you going? What was the love of the game like for you at the end that got you to the point where you just wanted to keep going?
I think you just said a love for the game. I mean, a love for the game. That's something that I always learned how to do it. And then I'll try to get another shot, and but I tried. I tried, and I really enjoyed playing in the Bowl and Mexico and Japan, and definitely in Venezuela. And but you gotta know when you gotta stop. So I did stop. I did stop, and I really enjoyed my time playing baseball.
All right, it's part of the greatest.
That's a base hit by Peraza. Peraza looking good in spring so far for the Mets on his minor league spring training invitee.
But you were part of the greatest infield ever. Is there anybody, whether it's Francisco Lindor on the Mets or just across the game of baseball, that you love watching play defense?
Believe it or not, I like to watch Yorman play, even though it may be 2 hours today. I say what happened, but I think it's a great guy to have in any field. Definitely Lindor's Gold Glover guys. Neil plays second base. I think it's going to be great. Escobar and working so hard in third base to get better every year. So it's great to see those guys, get better and better, and I think that's the key for winning games. Have a great infield and try to make all the plays, and so the pitcher don't have to worry about throwing the ball right in the middle.
He's the great Edgardo Alfonzo. Always fantastic seeing you and catching up. Be well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, thanks for the time, Gary. Back to you,
Steve. Don't go anywhere.
Steve, to humble you a little bit after those Emmy Award-winning calls, what exactly was the conversation that you and the local barber had here before you got that haircut?
Oh, you heard about this?
I didn't hear anything. I'm just looking.
Do you like it, first of all?
It's a new look, I guess.
It is a new look. So Alan Soriel, the fantastic interpreter, member of the Mets public relations staff, he moonlights as somebody who criticizes the way that I look. And he's been saying for about a year, hey, you need a fade, you need to change the hairstyle, you need to go to a Dominican barbershop and get it done. And he told me exactly what to say yesterday. He said a mid-fade, keep everything tight up top. I went to this barbershop, and I'll tell you, it was an experience because they actually spun me around to the middle so I could not see myself in the mirror. All I saw was just chunks of hair being thrown about. I kind of like it, though.
I have no argument with your haircut, Steve. I, however, want to have a conversation with you as Count Walks about your reluctance over the years to indulge us with your play-by-play. I mean, most sports broadcasters at some point in their career aspire to try this out. And you, for whatever reason, have been ultimately reluctant. I mean, your predecessor did the Super Bowl this year, and you have never sat in this chair. What was the problem?
Well, you'll see. No, I mean, honestly, I guess I never felt like I had properly done the work to deserve to sit in that great chair. And, maybe I underestimated. We'll see. But I've done a lot of work this spring. I've called a bunch of games on my phone. And, let's give it a rip. Let's let it rip. I mean, you encouraged me to do it. Howie encouraged me to do it. A bunch of people at the network encouraged me to do it. And now that Wayne's gone, I'm not taking any opportunities away from him. So,
well, let me ask you this. What is your biggest concern? I mean, we've heard your home run calls, your parenthetical home run calls, so we know that you have some chops there. What have you been working on?
When I have done the tapes, it's the multi-faceted calls that seem to trip me up a little bit. So when there's a bunch of things happening, figuring out exactly what to focus on, where to go, point to point, and honestly, not talking so much. I mean, you said that to me today, right? Don't talk so much. You've got pictures, and so that's what I'm going to try to do. But again, you'll see on the 22nd why I've been a little hesitant.
Well, the theme of spring training has been less is more, right? The pitch clock. And that will be your theme as well. Less is more.
Let's hope that pitch clock kicks into high gear.
Who are you working with on your
Jerry. Jerry Glenn.
That'll be good. He'll keep you in line.
I told him to get ready to carry me.
All right, we're looking forward to it, Steve.
So am I.
I'm going to be, if I'm not watching it live, I promise you I'll be DVRing it, and I'll be dissecting every call.
Well, listen, as good as the ratings were the first weekend, I hope they do a big dive on that day.
Now everybody's going to be tuning in, Steve.
Yeah, this was a problem. When you started teasing it a little bit, I said, here we go.
You know, I have one other piece of advice for you. As Escobar fouls it off. That day and for like a couple of weeks afterward, do not go anywhere near social media.
From experience, I know.
Well, Steve, the difficult part on doing play-by-play here is you have to follow Messrs. Rose and Cohen.
Yeah, but you know what the difficult part of doing field reporting here? You got to follow a guy that just did the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
okay.
He knows about the big shoes.
That's what I'm saying.
My shoes are like size 3.
I will tell you, before I did my first game ever with you guys, I got a text from KB. Said the only thing that you can't do is check Twitter, check social media. I said, how bad could it be? My first hit, not for air, but it was bad.
By the way, happy birthday,
Right.
late KB. He had a birthday yesterday. Escobar
All
walks.
right, bases loaded. 1 out for the Mets in the bottom of the 5th. 9-3 Nationals.
The home run to Nito. Gives up a single and a couple of walks. I have to tell you the vicarious thrill that I had, and I don't watch much football these days, but watching the Super Bowl, I felt like a proud parent.
I felt the same way. You know, it's just, it's so great to see a friend get his shot.
Yeah, Escobar. I'm telling you,
Greg Olson.
we didn't know what the issue was, and it didn't seem like age when it came to Escobar because as good as he was in late August into all of September, and the coach is on the mound talking to the pitcher. So Brett Beatty is running for Escobar. So yeah, it's very interesting to because Escobar was going through a nasty divorce last year for the majority of the season, and he said that really affected him. He's a happy-go-lucky guy. Probably had that all on his mind, and it probably messed him up mentally. And they are human. I think Escobar is going to be a lot better than he was last year for the more of the year. So Brett Beatty is running for Escobar at first base. So Brett Beatty is in the game.
Different flight, which means I probably won't make it. You're on a roll, aren't you? Hang with him. I heard this could be a challenging travel year anyway.
Here's McNeil, bases loaded, 1 out. He slashes one down past Joey Cora. Nothing left.
Got to be heads up if you're Cora and with McNeil up.
With the runner at third and second, you play that much closer to home plate if you're the third base coach, which puts you at risk. You have your back semi-turned as well. So quick reactions are a must. Half swing of the curveball, and he stopped it in time. 1-1.
Carl Edwards Jr. had some really good years for the Chicago Cubs. Only time that he would get out of whack was with his control, and that is what has happened here in this inning.
And he had 1 year, he walked 38 batters in 66 innings with the Cubs. Another half swing, and again he stopped it in time. This time on the high fastball. It's 2-1. Last year, Edwards was terrific. He walked only 25 batters in 62 innings, 2.76 ERA, but it's not coming easily for him in this inning. Already 26 pitches thrown, and still only 1 out. And that's on the inside corner, changeup, and it's 2-2. innings. Not a great ratio for Edwards. How's that one into the ground?
That one hurt a little bit as he walks it off.
Raza, Davis, and Beatty, the base runners. It's 2 out of the deal, 3-2. Edwards about to throw his 30th pitch of the inning. It's usually where they cap pitchers. That's what happened to Scherzer earlier on.
That's a base hit up the middle. That should be 2 runs. All right, Jeff. Typical Jeff McNeil hitting it up the middle, which would have probably been out last year because of the shift. 9-5 in the bottom of the 5th.
Last year's Major League batting champ works a full count and bangs one up the middle for 2.
Looked like a little cutter here from Edwards Jr. Stayed right on by McNeil, not trying to do too much. Almost gets the umpire with the line drive up the middle. And Davey Martinez has to make a change.
So
All
Edwards
right.
is out. Victor Orana will be coming in. Steve Gelbs working on it. But that guy always loses. He's losing.
Yep, I do agree. Oh, Todd, that's not really true. With I mean, how many lefties are in this lineup? Really, like there's not many. Escobar's a switch hitter, yeah, but Escobar's a 25 home run guy on average. So, I want Escobar to be a home run. You don't need 3 or 4 guys like Brandon Nimmo and Jeff McNeil as lefties. Like I said, we need a little bit more power in this lineup. And I said, we're going to get more home runs just based on the projections that we were expecting last year. You're going to get better home run production at the DH spot. That's a fact. If Vogelback, who had 18 home runs last year, gives you 18 home runs this year, that is at least 15 more home runs that we had at the DH spot from our guys that were always the DH last year prior to Vogelback. So that's already more home runs added to this lineup. Escobar had a down year and he still had 20 home runs. Escobar's a 25 home run guy. That's 5 home runs more. You're going to get more home runs with Narvaez as catcher in the catcher position on the offensive side. Even if he gives you 10 home runs, that is 7 more home runs than we got from the catcher all of last year. So you're getting a lot more home runs there. That's almost 30 home runs right there. So it's going to be a big difference. You're going to get... Oh, yes. But again, you don't need all those guys to be the same amount of hitters. You got power hitters as well. So... But, I don't really think that, yeah, I guess you could say you're right. But, I mean, that's what baseball is now, It's not really a sport for average anymore, unfortunately. Oh, he gets hit. Bases loaded again.
Always dangerous when you see it.
Ooh, did that ball hit him or did it hit the bat now?
Hit the bat.
Yep.
No replay.
No replay in spring training. So Mark Vientos will run for Alonso, who was ruled to have been hit by the pitch, but apparently was not. Interesting. So now the base is loaded for Vogelbach, the 8th man up in the inning. He's the tying run at the plate. Going to give the Mets once trailed 8-0. It's now 9-5, and Vogelbach will tie it with one swing. Well, he's hit 2 fly balls today.
We got here today, we have the over.
Yeah. Well, once we saw the wind was blowing out the way it was. But that hasn't been the whole story. The bigger story coming out of this game so far was Scherzer and the balk and the pitch clock violation and what ultimately turned out to be an inning he could not turn off the faucet of.
Bad bounces in the infield will be one of the themes as well.
That's right. It's been kind of an odd day all the way around.
This reminds me of the spring training games the first 17 years when you and I have been together.
But the clock's still running. Vogelbach flies one down the left field line. And that's caught in foul territory by Call, tagging in the score.
Got a sack fly. 9-6.
And that makes it 9-6.
That ball was in the stands, and the wind blew it onto the field. Remarkable.
I had no idea that ball was going to be in play, and it was in play by a wide margin. So goes to sacrifice fly for Vogelbach.
Tommy Pham is up.
2 out. Yeah, here's Tommy Pham. And he takes one of the dirt. Good stop by Adams and saved a wild pitch on a run.
Flips that glove over. Didn't get the leather on it, but it moved his body enough to get the right shin guard to play a part.
And another one. So 2 in a row stopped by Adams. You know, that's a play in recent years we've seen more and more catchers have trouble with because they're down on a knee. Adams is not.
He's not. He's in a kind of a old-fashioned position. So, of course, now we have, because of the clock, we have some fans that are counting down before it's to play. So it was at 9 seconds, and some fans were counting down 3, 2, 1 to try to induce the balk.
It's kind of like fans counting down the shot clock too early.
Yes.
The batter behind us is getting blown over by the wind. Whoa. Close the door.
We need a little better research and development on the banner we need in a windy Florida.
Well, I don't think very much research and development is necessary to learn that you have to close the door on windy days. It's that off. And when I come into play, it does. That ball was way out of play and got blown back in.
All right, so that ends the inning. Little adventure with the wind. The Mets make it a little bit more closer, 9-6 after 5, going to the top of the 6th. Once again, guys, don't forget, if you haven't hit on that like button yet, please do. Keep you through the end of the game and a little bit of a post game, couple of minutes just to go over the stats of Scherzer and then talk a little bit more about what we're going to see for the rest of the spring training. Of course, a couple of more live stream as well. Is the game, and that's how you're going to see it throughout the season with game day up. And, of course, the live reactions from me in the corner and, of course, your reactions during the live action as well in the chat room. So that's going to be always a lot of fun. It is always a lot of fun during the season because we get fans of other teams as well. That can start a lot of tension between two fan bases, which is always fun. And yes, members of the channel as well. I am working on my custom emojis that I'm gonna add to the emoji collection, so you guys can use that during the season in the chat if you're a member. I'm also gonna be putting up a new intro prior to coming live as well. Also going to be putting up sound effects with Gary Cohen, Howie Rose, Keith Hernandez, and all that fun stuff as well. Hey, President, how you doing, buddy? So we're just waiting for the top of the six to start. It's 9-6 Nationals. Mets are making a valiant comeback in spring. Scores don't matter. Stats don't really matter for the most part. But, the pitch clock really came into effect today with Scherzer. Very interesting. President, it's spring training. I think the pitch clock got to him a little bit, which is very interesting. But you're going to see that from veterans for sure. You're going to see Verlander and Senga for the first time this year with the pitch clock. All right. So we have Elijah Hernandez on the mound for the Mets. Top of the 9-6 Nationals.
20 games last year, half of them starts for Hernandez with the Marlins.
This one's popped a mile high. What's this one going to do? Jalen Davis now in right field, and he stays with it, 1 out. Before the game today, Buck was talking about the Trevor Williams role on this team last year and saying that it would be hard to replace what he did. When you look around this Mets staff and think about guys who could be that long reliever, spot starter, emergency guy, Eliezer Hernandez is probably the first one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Both started in relief for the Marlins last year. He was a solid starter for the Marlins in 2021. He had an elbow issue last year that cratered his season a bit. And a ball called on a pitch clock violation.
Wow. Pitch clock violation. Ball 1. Wow.
The average violations per game in spring training so far across baseball has been about 1.7, which is exactly what it was the first 2 weeks when they introduced the pitch clock in the minor leagues last year, and eventually got it down to about a half a violation per game as the players got more adjusted. Up to the left field, a base hit for Call, and that'll go back to the wall. So LaCastro playing the carom, and Call has his second of the day. A 1 out double.
Call's had a nice game. Hanging slider here from Hernandez. Stays back just enough.
Get home safe,
to left
President.
field.
Other changes for the Mets. Mark Viento is now playing first base. Brett Beatty is at third. We mentioned LaCastro in left. Alex Ramirez now at center. Jalen Davis at right. There's Luis Garcia, who has the most impressive hit of the day, a long home run in the third inning. And that's rolled toward the hole, and that's a base hit. Around third comes Call, and he'll come in to score. And that makes it 10-6 Washington. Third RBI of the day for Garcia. Viento seemed to hesitate on that ball as it snuck toward the hole.
But, he's new to the position, so just reacting to the ball off the bat, even though he's a third baseman on that opposite side, it's a little awkward. And in the past, there's always someone to your right, not now.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Last year, that's probably a 4-3 putout, and the first baseman would have no reason to go after that ball, but the defense is forced to play more straight up. That's a ball the first baseman has to at least make an attempt on.
In fact, they had to have a conversation with Pete Alonso last year that if it's hit softly to your right, there'll be someone there to get it.
Joyce Ness's 1 for 3, chops one.
Double play ball.
For 2, the turn.
And it is to end the inning, going to the bottom of the 6th. 10-6 Nationals going to the bottom of the 6th. Mets are coming up. again, that is another thing as well with the the ban of the shift is the fact that there is going to be players who are so used to the shift that might not have to cover certain parts of the field like Vientos just did, where, for a couple of years now in that shift, there would have been a second baseman a little bit further to the right, and you would have had the first baseman not attempt to go after that ball. Vientos gave up on that ball. It's a whole new mindset when it comes to no ban of the shift either. You got to get that mental block out of your head that the shift is there, that there's somebody behind you or somebody closer to you that can get to that ball. You're going to have to make a better attempt at that ball. Like Vientos, I think, he looked like he gave up on that ball thinking, hey, second baseman's right around there. And of course, with the shift, he's not. With the ban of the shift, he is not. So that's another thing that is going to be an adjustment period that probably will probably be, somewhat everybody will adjust to that probably later in spring training because of the fact that you did it all your life. And then all of a sudden now you're at the, you don't have to do it anymore. It's going to be very interesting. Mindy, no, I'm not. I am in New York again. Mindy, are you going to Miami on opening day? I know a lot of people are going, for sure. 2,000 of us. But it'll definitely be fun for sure. Can't wait to get down there. All right. Bottom of the sixth, 10-6 Nationals.
Henry figures to be the Nats closer this year. Takes over the pitching as we go to the bottom of the sixth inning.
He's been a real find. He's had a couple of real good, solid seasons for the Nationals. Starts with that split finger grip.
Luis Guillorme leads off for New York, and he takes a fastball for a strike. See other changes for the Nats. They've got Michael Chavis playing first, Jake Alou at second, Lucius Fox at short.
Okay, Mindy, I'll definitely see you there.
And Eric Mejia at
Well,
third.
a lot of people got shocked, but mostly Scherzer, but it was mostly all unearned because of the fact he did give up a home run, but it was unearned runs because a couple of errors in it. But the pitch clock messed with Scherzer a little bit. That's for sure.
To the Guillorme who's flying out and struck out today. And also made 2 errors in 1 inning behind Max Scherzer. Wound up costing the Mets 700 runs. That scored 8 runs in the third. They lead it 10-6. And we've reached the portion of the afternoon now on a windy day for St. Louis City, where the Rappers have begun to come into play. Now, I've got a question for you. If the Rapper gets in the hitter's vision and he has to call timeout to get it away, does that count as a charged timeout?
I would hope the umpire would have a feel for that.
We had an incident yesterday right at the beginning of the bottom of the first inning where the Braves pitcher, Colby Allard, came off the mound
I agree,
and
Bill.
signaled that he needed help with his pitch count. And even though he had a problem with it, it turned out that they called the ball.
Wasn't it because he didn't have the pitch count?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
He didn't actually have the pitch count, and he wanted to be able to go into the dugout to get the pitch count. And Lance Barksdale said, "No, that's your problem. Ball 1."
Gee.
And if you'll remember, Buck Showalter and Jeremy Hefner came out for clarification the next inning because they wanted to know what was the reason. But everybody's trying to get up to speed.
Yeah, no one wants to make a mistake when it really counts.
Well, I asked Buck about it today. And his ball for to Guillorme, and he said it probably is going to depend on who the umpire is. You know, there are going to be all these little situations, these quirky situations where somebody's trying to get time out, whether it's an injury situation or a wrap around the field, whatever it is, as Ronnie Mauricio runs for Guillermo. And it's going to be up to the umpire's discretion at some points as to whether it constitutes a legitimate.
Yes, it is on SNY. Yeah, I know. I know. YouTube always makes it a few seconds behind. Oh, it should be a double play ball. It is. Yeah, YouTube is a little behind on that.
Gary, I look at it this way: the umpires that have the longer years of service, I think they might have a feel for how not the little things to get in the way of the competition. But I do know that baseball's going to have 10 new umpires this year that have all been calling by the rules in the minor leagues with the pitch clock. I think they're going to be more to the rules.
You know, it's interesting you say that because that's it. To the
Should end the inning.
The players in most clubhouses this year are the coaches and managers who worked in the minors the last few years.
All right, so going to the top of the 7th, 10-6 National. Thank you, Manny. Yep. Good idea, Bill. But yeah, so that you know, with YouTube, it's a couple of seconds behind because it is streaming, so streaming's always a few seconds behind. Well, Bill, we'll see Senga on Sunday, but it won't be on TV because they're not on SNY because they're on the road. They're not playing in the Mets ballpark in Port St. Lucie. So tomorrow and Sunday, it would have been an opportunity to see Verlander and Senga, but because they're both on the road, SNY doesn't travel to the away games during spring training, so you don't get it televised. But you'll see clips of it on Twitter and social media and all that stuff as well. So we should be good there. Sorry, guys. No, because there ain't much. I wouldn't know what's going on. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. But yeah, unfortunately, Bill, there's really nothing to follow. So there'll be a live stream of me trying to figure out what the heck's going on during the game. You know, you can look at game day and see what's going on, but that's not going to be easy to do. And, you know, it's not very entertaining, to be honest with you. So the game should be on TV to actually do that. So I don't want to be, you know, a complete bore for 3 hours when the game's going on and you don't really know what's going on, but that's okay. But again, I'll probably do some type of reaction to their starts after the game. So we'll definitely I'll probably do that depending on work and all that fun stuff. So we'll definitely check that out. So Mauricio is in the game as well, as long as Alvarez and Beatty. So we'll see them get at bats as well in this game.
First time behind the plate this spring, Francisco Alvarez.
So that's good to see.
Alvarez coming off ankle surgery in the offseason, so they've been working with him a lot on his defensive skills. And that one comes inside. It's the bat of Candelario. I asked Buck what was the thing he was going to be looking at the most with Alvarez today, and he said pitch presentation. In other words, pitch framing. How you catch the ball.
See, that was one of the big things they worried about with Alvarez was framing pitches.
Down on 3 pitches. Hernandez has his first strikeout, one away.
Yeah, we should, Bill. I was just down there a couple of days ago. I got back on Monday in Port St. Lucie. I was there from Thursday to Monday.
Robot umps are coming. Although it appears as though when we first get the robot umpires, whether that's next year or the year after or whenever, it won't be strictly robot umpires calling balls and strikes. That's it out to right by Garrett, and Davis is right there to get the 2 out. It'll probably be a challenge system where you'll still have human home plate umpires, but each team will be granted a certain number of challenges to ball and strike calls over the course of the game, and the robot umpires will decide those.
Then you'll have to decide when to start the clock. That's going to be
It'll be a little more complicated. Eldemar Vargas has left the game. That's Eric Mejia batting for the first time.
Oh, no, they're not the same day, Bill. It's Saturday for Verlander, Sunday for Senga.
Advantages of picking up Omar Narvaez as a free agent is that you have Alvarez working with a fellow Venezuelan who has really become a master at pitch framing skills, which he was not earlier in his career. So Narvaez has been down the same path that Alvarez is trying to take. And the one thing Alvarez said more than anything else to Alvarez, Narvaez said to Alvarez about pitch framing is wait for the ball instead of reaching for it, which you can understand how, you can be anxious as a young player. And a strikeout for.
Well, that was a quick inning. Going to the bottom of the seventh. We're going to see a couple of the young guys, young prospects for the Mets bat, which is always nice to see. Bill, it would be a nice weekend trip. Mindy, honestly, Alvarez did. I mean, sorry, not Alvarez. Excuse me. Ronnie Mauricio did for sure. In the inter-squad game, it was only 2 innings, but the way he fielded his position at shortstop, he made that nice play with a little blooper going over Escobar's head. He's a big guy, but he has some closeout speed that got to that ball rather quickly. He's very light on his feet for a big guy. And of course, the crack of the bat when he hits the ball is just different than a lot of other players. That Mauricio was just out there, but I like the way Beatty played as well. Again, I wouldn't be so shocked if the Mets decided to put Beatty and Mauricio on this roster, which I'll be fine with. I'll definitely be fine with. But I did like the way Escobar has been playing in spring. He's been, this was a guy that was supposed to be the protection for Pete Alonso last year. He had a terrible year for almost every month except September. And we found out later on, not only recently this year, that he was going through a very nasty divorce with children and all that crazy stuff. And mentally, that probably screwed him up big time. Everybody's different. It messed with him. And, you see, if you're an older guy who is losing a little bit of the skills like an older player would, you don't get better at the end of the season. You get really good in the beginning, and then at the end, you kind of fall off. That's why it was weird with Escobar. Why, that's why when people talked about, it's his age, it's not true. Because in August, September should be his worst months, not his best months. So I think Escobar's going to have a big year. Average-wise, I think he can bat 250. I do think you're going to see at least 25 home runs from Escobar. All right, so already a quick one out. Brett Beatty coming up.
Couple of changes for the Nats. Israel Pineda is in behind the plate, and Travis Blankenhorn of the Pottsville, PA Blankenhorns is in right field. Pitcher is Jake
Irvin, Bloomington, Minnesota, went to the University of Oklahoma, just added to the 40-man roster this past winter for the Nationals.
Pottsville, PA always sounds like it should have been a participant of the old Eastern League basketball. They played at Allentown,
That's right.
Scranton,
Hershey.
right? Pottsville.
I mean, just recently wasn't the anniversary of Wilt and the 100 points. That was done in Hershey, I believe.
Hershey, Pennsylvania. No video, no TV, no film.
Beatty got struck out real quick.
That was a picture of him holding
Woo.
a piece of paper with 100 on it. And nobody else has scored more than 81.
I've always looked for, and I'm sure I just have overlooked, I've always looked for the book about that game.
Is there a book?
Yeah, I don't know. I've always looked for it because I wanted to know, was it a game where they decided to just feed Wilt, who was so much larger than most of the
Well,
players?
Ken, you got to check, buddy. You're supposed to get a notification when I do streams.
Points a game then.
Come on, Ken. You got to be on your game. You look like Scherzer today on the mound. Didn't know what he was doing, man. Come on.
Think about that. Average 50 points a game. And he couldn't shoot.
I don't know why you don't. I don't know, Ken. I don't know if you're a subscriber of my channel. You making money? I don't know. You live in Florida. What is that? Cocaine?
That's the other fact about Chamberlain that is just unfathomable.
Oh, boy.
He never fouled out of a game in his entire career. It's remarkable. And he played basically 48 minutes every game. He was just a man among men. 1-2 to Castro. And the Ithaca College bomber takes it high, and it's 2-2.
The great thing about the older players, you'll always have someone on one of the networks say that he wouldn't be able to play today. I mean, it's like remarkable.
Here's the thing.
Lack of history.
Well, but the game has changed.
Of course.
But then again, it's changed partly because the athletes have gotten better because of better nutrition and better health care and all the things that go into making these athletes as good as possible. I mean, can you imagine if Babe Ruth had good nutrition? Afforded Castro to throw the ball.
He would never get a hit if he had good nutrition.
I know, Ken. I know you don't. I understand. Oh, you are getting MLB extra innings. Finally.
Will was one of the greatest big men athletes.
All right, let's see what Vientos got here.
ever lived.
Here's Mark Vientos, and he takes a slide.
Vientos is having a good spring, not a Beatty Mauricio type of spring, but a good spring.
One thing that is remarkable, when you go in a baseball clubhouse these days, is how much bigger the players are, taller than they were back in the day, and yet there's still room in the game for a smaller player. Just look at Jose Altuve.
That's a nice line drive, but right at the center fielder. And that ends the inning. We're going to the top of the 8, 10-6 Nationals. I know, Mindy, I know. Drink some coffee? Nah, I had a long day at work. I did 13 hours from last night. I didn't get home until almost 11. That's why my stream popped up a little later, because I had to finish it. Wasn't fun, guys. Wasn't fun. But gotta make money. How else am I gonna get to Miami? That's right. YouTube will be tax write-offs from now on. Any trip I make is based on my YouTube work, which I didn't know I was allowed to do until after I did my taxes, unfortunately. But this time I will. I'll know a big difference in 2023 when I do my taxes for 2023. Yeah, but look, I already said this, and it wasn't a very popular opinion. I do think Kevin Parada is going to be a better overall player than Francisco Alvarez, to be honest. I don't know if I don't think the Mets are going to give up any of those top prospects, to be honest with you. I think they're going to hold on to them until one of them fall off. Or, yeah, Scherzer, he got a little messed up with that pitch clock today. He got a pitch violation, all that crazy stuff. I can get the fire? Oh, yeah? I got to find out. I'll probably go to hopefully a basketball game's around that time. I got to check the schedule. I definitely hit up a basketball game for sure. All right, guys. We're going to the bottom of the top of the 7th. Top of the 8th. 10-6 Nationals.
Well, that's not enjoyable.
So, we put it on a tape so we can take the tape off if he wants, or he can leave it on. Or not make a good
He
story.
could show it to Keith someday. He's going to say, this is the ball that was on the broadcast. But can we take the tape off and you can sign it?
What do you think? 50-50-50? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. John Curtis is on the pitch for the Mets. Facing Jake Alou batting for the first time.
Fascinated by John Curtis and what he brings. Before he hurt himself, such a good reliever for the Rays.
Slapped down to third where Brett Beatty throws and gets him one out. Curtis was a big part of that Tampa Bay bullpen. Tommy John surgery. The Mets took a flyer on him. They signed him last year, knowing that he wouldn't be able to pitch until this year, and they're hoping that they get the payoff from that this season.
All right. John Curtis is on the mound for the Mets. A very interesting guy that could make this Mets bullpen
Curtis was in
starting the season.
the Rays in 2020.
Oh, Ken, this is Gary's last game of the spring. He just said it earlier on in the broadcast. He's doing the Seton Hall basketball for the NCAA tournament. So next time we're gonna hear him is opening day on March 30th.
Figures in guys in the bullpen with saves.
What is the magic formula for the Rays with their relievers? Because they've had such success taking guys, making them better, casting them aside, bringing in a new group, and doing it all over again.
Well, I think one of the things they do is depth. Ground ball here.
Should be 2 outs. Mauricio, nice and smooth.
Depth, the way they are used in game, but I think even more important, they identify guys' pitches that they like. Singular pitches that guys come over to the Rays and they identify and tell them, hey, listen, the league is hitting 172 off your curveball. We want you to have a pitch usage of 66% curveball. And they do it.
But doesn't everybody do that?
Not everyone does it to that degree. And you also, when you're identifying a guy's strength, you better be right.
We definitely got the best booth.
Michael Chavis batting for the first time, took over at first base. Well, one of the team bonding experiences that Buck Showalter instituted is a talent contest, which apparently happened before the game today. And we are not privy to who performed and what their performances were. But I have a feeling John Curtis was probably part of that because he's been known to pick at a guitar.
Yes.
Big into the music scene in Austin, where he lived. So, I mean, I'm sure some of the intel about the talent show will leak out.
So the little Austin city limits here in Fort St. Lucie.
Exactly. I mean, we know from some of Buck's past stops where he's had talent shows, TJ McFarland, who's with the Mets, does a Harry Carey impression.
That's great.
I know there was one year, was it Ryan Flaherty brought 2 monkeys in to perform his talent? Matt Curtis blows away Chavis, so a very impressive 1-2-3 inning.
All right, going to the bottom of the 8th. Nice by John Curtis, another guy that could be in the Mets bullpen once the season starts. Keith has his own rules. We all know that. As Keith says, good fundies. And then Thursday on SNY at 1 p.m., the Mets face Venezuela before they head to the World Baseball Classic. How about that? So it's Escobar against the Mets. So once again, guys, don't forget to please hit on that like button. We're going to the bottom of the 8th. 10-6 Nationals. John Curtis looked good in his inning. A guy who did not pitch last year, but has pretty good stuff. Pretty good couple of years. He also pitched for the Marlins as well. So, the Mets have a lot of guys that they're looking at to fill a couple of more roster spots, or bullpen spots before the season starts. Got a couple of weeks left. We got almost a month. We got 27 days until opening day. So it's a little less than a month. A little over about a month. A little more than 3 weeks away before opening day. So, of course, the World Baseball Classic is going to put a wrench into that because of the fact the Mets have a lot of players that are going to the World Baseball Classic. Couple for USA, couple for Puerto Rico, couple for Venezuela as well. So just hope they stay healthy. That's the most important thing. But that's going to give opportunities for Mauricio, Lady Vientos to show what they have, and it's going to open up their eyes even more. Even though the big story so far in spring training has been Ronnie Mauricio and Brett Beatty. If they continue to play the way they've been playing, guess what? They're probably going to make this team some way, somehow. You know, it would be nice if Brendan Nimmo gets into an actual spring training game. You know, he gets the contract and he says, "Oh, I'm not going to play a lot of spring training games. I want to stay healthy." Interesting. But Ken, that's your guy. All right, Vogelback is up. Bottom of the 8, 10-6 Nationals.
Entirely different pitcher.
Yes, you're right. He's a Nationals pitcher as well, wasn't he?
He was. He's still in Oakland? Where did he move on?
I don't know.
Nobody stays in Oakland very long. Where is Vimael Machin? The guy we saw play third base for the A's last year. He moved somewhere.
Yes, he did.
Where's Machin?
Well, we're going to get a double taste of the A's. We had it late in the season last year, and we're going back there in April this year.
That trip in April goes, as Vogelback strikes out, second strikeout for Irvin. It goes Oakland, L.A., San Francisco.
Obviously, the person making the schedule does not know California well.
Just geographically challenged. Let's see, where is Machin? Phillies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Really nice bench piece for them, right?
I'm going to do something I've never done when we've taken the LA trip. After the game and
All right, now the Mets top prospect, Alex Ramirez up.
drive to Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it, 7, 8 hours?
No, it's like
4 the way you drive?
4.5, 4:45. Let's get on the 5 highway, which is closer to Oakland than San Francisco.
So you're not going to take the Pacific Coast Highway, the scenic route.
That's a scenic route. No, that would take too long. And there'd be a lot of opportunities to stop at Pebble Beach or do a little sideways tour down there in Ojai.
Alex Ramirez batting for the first time. .97 on the block.
Big, tall right
Well
hand.
played.
Looks like it's easy for him to fire at 97.
University of Oklahoma product. This is up and away, and it's 3-2. There it is. Ronnie Mauricio waiting on deck. And Ramirez goes down swinging on Hart.
2 outs. All right, Mauricio coming up to the bat with 2 outs in the 8th.
These are kind of the things that let you know that a pitcher has a good fastball. Not only the speed, which Gary said was 97, but the fastball count. Hitter knows it's coming, still gets it thrown by him.
Irvin, who made 15 starts at Double-A this year, impressing in his second outing of the spring. There's Ronnie Mauricio for the first time in this game. He has 3 hits this spring, and every one of them has been hit at least 413 feet. He had a 450-foot bomb for his first home run here at St. Lucie, out to right center, to the back of the berm. And then he had a couple on the road. Check swing,
Oh,
tapper that.
down the line, check swing.
Mauricio around
That should be a double, and it is.
And he's got himself another extra base hit. Not well struck as the first 3, but it's a 2-out double. Only 72 miles an hour off the bat, but it's not how hard you hit him, it's where you hit him.
Yeah, a little excuse me double. Looked like he was going to check swing or try to check swing, but got it off the end of the bat. And the defense produces a double.
So now Francisco Alvarez will bat for the first time. It's a scary thought. If he
All right,
gets
here goes
one
Alvarez.
with the wind blowing, the
Couple of Mets top prospects in this inning.
Gets first pitch breaking ball and flails at it.
27 home runs last year in Double-A and Triple-A. 260 average, 78 RBIs.
Came up long strong enough to hit his first big league home run last year. And there'll be more to come. And that's going to be what?
Nope.
Was it time call?
Pitch violation.
Well, you say, yeah, the umpire is saying that Alvarez called for time.
I don't think that was a smart move on Alvarez's part because the clock was down to 1 and Irvin wasn't ready to pitch. That change-up sails up and in. It's 2-1. This is where you see about a young pitcher, right? He's trying to not throw fastballs into Alvarez's power.
Fortunately, the Mets don't have a lot of pitching prospects besides Ziegler and Tidwell.
There's one up out of the strike zone, and he went around. It's 2-2. You guys might have faced each other at Double-A last year. Mauricio at second with 2 down. And Alvarez went around on the half swing. And he's
All right, that ends the inning. Going to the top of the ninth, 10-6 Nationals. That is where we are right now. Take at bats. Besides Mauricio, a couple of them struck out. Mauricio with a check swing double down the third base line. You know, you look at Mauricio and he has 4 hits this year. 3 of them were home runs. So it's not like he's been doing so great putting the bat on the ball. You know, he still has a little bit of an issue striking out a little bit. It would be nice to put the bat on the ball a little bit more, especially without the shift. Should help Ronnie Mauricio a little bit. But there's no doubt that he has very, very raw power. For sure. And it's going to be interesting. Again, I still believe the Mets are going to take one of the top prospects. I still think it's going to be Beatty, no matter what Mauricio does. I think they still want Mauricio to cut down more on strikeouts, get that average up a little bit. And I think that's something that they're going to work on with Mauricio as well. But I think Brett Beatty is somewhat, in my opinion, the guy that's probably going to make the roster opening day. Yeah. Tidwell is the guy for I like Ziegler, Calvin Ziegler a lot. I've seen him pitch in college. Just nasty stuff. Tidwell, I haven't seen pitch live, but I've seen videos of him. I've seen the stuff he has. Both of those guys have ace type stuff. You know, they just gotta harness it when they go through the levels of the minors. You know, I think Ziegler's probably could be on track for maybe next year, but definitely 2025 for both of them. It's just a matter of how they're going to progress. But that's something that we have to say. But the Mets need pitching prospects. Like, it's not a joke. Like, you know, they got a couple of old guys. Yeah, they can rely on McGill and Peterson and Senga as, you know, leading their rotations, but you got to fill a couple of other spots as well. So that's something we're going to have to look at. You know, we've been looking at the lineup so much. Pitching's the issue. All right, top of the ninth, 10-6 Nationals. William Woods for the Mets.
Really represents the ups and the downs of some pitchers.
Oh, that's a shot. Goodbye.
And the Nationals have their second home run of the day. And Tuna clocking one out with a win, and it's 11-6.
Little spin and break ball right in the middle of the plate. Altuve didn't miss it. And I was talking about Woods, who was waived by the Braves. Negative. Claimed by the Mets.
That was a shot. Nice hanging breaking ball.
Signed Ottavino. Negative. And then assigned to AAA. But that's those always seem to go a long way.
Last year was a transitional year for William Woods.
Lucchesi, I don't know.
Straight to the bullpen. midseason.
They've been holding back a lot of the guys too.
Last year, got in 2 games
I'm not really sure.
before getting waived.
It's interesting though, Ken.
The Mets taking a flyer on him. He got on the hands of Lucius Fox and it's fouled off. 96 for Woods. Max Scherzer started this game. First 2 innings went swimmingly, but he could not battle his way out of the third. A walk when he quick pitched.
Yeah, Ken. I think that's what Joe Lucchese's going to be.
A couple of soft hits, 2 errors by Guillorme, a tape measure home run by Garcia. It all ended up to 7 runs against Scherzer as the backdoor slider gets Lucius Fox looking for the first out. That's an impressive pitch by Woods. Woods, irons.
You better be a good golfer if your last name's Woods.
Casey.
I didn't see that. Maybe he did. I don't know. I didn't see nothing on SNY with Max talking yet.
So Gary, after a start,
But no, that might have been in his first start that interview because they didn't interview him yet on SNY.
just working on some things. You know?
Well, the nice
I'll
thing
be
about
ready by April 1st.
The nice thing about spring training is that rather than having to cool your heels for 2 hours before you meet the media, they bring them in right after you're done, and Max is probably off on the golf course by now.
Oh,
Casey gets drilled to the back. And he's on base.
It happens to be a nice back and forth with the reporters in spring training. It's very casual as his fastball rides up and in and catches him right on the seat of Casey. And they usually sit around your locker.
so yeah, he did do
have a little
a
discussion.
press conference
Just give them
earlier.
enough so they can write about the game.
This is Brenner Cox taking over the DH spot. There's a hierarchy in spring training, right?
Yes.
There's the 40-man roster players. There's the non-roster invitees. And then there are the guys they bring over from the minor league camp, who you can always tell, especially for the visitors, because they don't have names on their backs.
Looks more like a collegiate uniform.
I have to say, though, one of the challenges of calling spring training games is always identifying who's who because there's so many changes made in the course of the game. The Nationals, probably more than any other team with these uniforms, the large numbers on the front are invaluable for player identification. Breaking ball low.
And if they do have their name, it's in white block print.
There you go,
To
Ken.
the red, so it's easier to read.
I mean, when you get a new outfielder coming in the game and they're, 300, 400 feet away from you and they're facing you, it's hard to know who they are if they don't have those big numbers on the front. Throw down to first by Alvarez. And getting back is Casey.
Good strong arm.
Yeah, that was one thing Buck said he wasn't worried about. Yeah, the arm strength is there.
The crazy thing about this game is all the players are so talented, and obviously there's some top-line performers that are going to be Hall of Famers someday. But every player that steps in the box or on the mound was the best player in their little town or hamlet or city or some even states. They've all had great moments for a long time. That's why they're here. Getting through that scrum to get up to the top is a very, very difficult thing.
Sometimes you're just waiting to get noticed.
We see a guy yesterday that had been in the minors for 13 years.
Ryan Castile. He hit a home run yesterday.
Yes, he did.
Over the track protection. Full count now to Cox.
And then some guys' paths are a little easier. The big straw man.
Well, when you're 1-1, as they say in the trade, first round, first pick. Double play ball.
Double play.
To Mauricio and back to first.
All right, here we go. Going to the bottom of the ninth. Mets last licks, down by 5 to the Nationals. So there we go, guys. We got almost a full game under our belt for the first time in 2023. Just to give you a little idea of what it's going to look like. I know there's some people that have been with me for a while, so you know what it looks like when it comes to the show. But I wanted to give the opportunity for people to see it who hasn't been on the stream before and see how it looks. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun to get my reactions, your reactions during the game. You know, it's going to be a little different this year because of the fact that the pitch clock is going to speed up a lot of the in-between pitches. And, you know, a lot of conversations we usually have is going to be a little bit quicker. So, like I said, it's already a 2-hour and 20-minute game, and we're in the bottom of the ninth. And there's been 17 runs scored. So, not even it's going to be about 2 hour, 2.5 hour, and 45-minute game, and it's been 17 runs scored. That's unheard of, just because of the pitch clock. So that's a little crazy. But you know what? It's gonna. I'm really gonna see how if the time of game is gonna increase a little bit once we get to actual real games during the season. You know, a little bit more of a pitch and change here. You know, a couple other things that happen during an actual season game. I wonder how it's gonna affect it a little bit. But again, 17 runs have been scored, and so far the game is 2.5 hours, and we're going to the bottom of the ninth. So this game is probably not going to be more than 3 hours, most likely. And with 17 runs, that's crazy. It's you know, it's not a bad thing. I don't think. I don't like the pitch clock, but I don't think any like for a person who works overnight and goes to baseball games, if this game, you know, if the game was a 7:00 game, this game would be over, you know, before 10 o'clock. That's music to my ears. You know, when it comes to that. When it comes to me, so how many steals? I don't know. All right, here we go. Bottom of the ninth.
Alfonzo wanted to try and get the final 3 outs for Washington, and unleashes a 98-mile-an-hour fastball to start off Wyatt Young.
AAA pitcher last year. ERA approaching 10, though, so he's got a big arm, and they're just trying to rein it in.
Young batting for the first time in the game. And he slaps one on the left side. This big hop from Mejia.
There we go.
There's the first
one out. Yeah, Todd, I think they should just get rid of the pitch clock. You know, just make the rule that, you know, put up one clock. The batter and the pitcher has to be ready by the time there's a 30-second clock that starts for the batter going from the batter's box to I'm sorry, not the on deck circle to the batter's box. So and that's what they should just do. Popped up, should be 2 outs, but the wind might make this interesting. Uh-oh, that's trouble. Oh, nice catch by the right fielder. 2 outs. Brett Beatty with the final out. With 2 outs, Brett Beatty is up.
To the second baseman, then it propelled out to the outfielder. What Blackmore? Right at the last second, put up his glove to make the play.
Just like he used to do back in Pottsville.
Here we go. Let's see. Final out.
Down to their final out. And Brett Beatty takes a big cut of the fastball. Beatty struck out, was only a bat.
Strike two.
Finish one game over 500. Yes, spring training. Oh, if the Mets lose today, there'll be 2 games under 500. So they'll have some ground to make up.
And that ends the game. There goes, guys. 11-6 is the final score of the spring training game. First of the channel for 2023. Mets lose 11-6. A couple of interesting. Actually had a little bit of trouble when it came to the pitch clock. Got a violation. Tried to quick pitch a batter, and the umpire called it a violation because the batter wasn't aware he was pitching, which is a stupid kind of judgment call. But that was the call. It messed up. You clearly messed up. Scherzer, it seemed like it got to him mentally, and that's something that a lot of veteran pitchers are going to have to go through. The next televised broadcast for SNY is Thursday, Mets and Venezuela. All right, there you go. So that is very interesting to see going forward when it comes to the pitch clock. You'll see it over time. If the pitchers get better with the pitch clock and get a better understanding of what they can and cannot do during the process. The batter has to be in the batter's box by 8 seconds left on the pitch clock, and the pitcher cannot throw the ball until the batter is actually looking at the pitcher in the box. That has been established in this game because as soon as the 2 feet were in the box for the hitter, Scherzer was throwing the pitch, and that was called a violation. John, I'm still trying to get enough people as well. A few people that wanted to do it don't want to be in a money league. So that was an issue, but don't worry. I got your email and all that stuff. As soon as I get enough people, I'll email everybody to say when it's going to happen. Florida was good. Unfortunately, it wasn't long enough, but I'll be back there in 27 days for opening day. So that's important. So all that with the pitch clock was just annoying. The game was 2.5 hours. Again, you can like that or not like that. Again, I'd like it only because I can get maybe an hour or two more sleep before work, but Oh, I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about my league. I'm sorry about that. Did you send me something? I apologize. Can you resend it to me? And I'll join. I apologize. There was a lot of people sending me leagues, and I'm in so many right now. Yeah, Ken, Nimmo's gonna pay. He don't play, so he might as well pay. You did over a text. Okay, can you send it again if you don't mind? I just got to make sure that because there's so many. Like I literally these are my text messages, guys. Like that's just text messages. Like, and that's over the last week. So I apologize. Sweet. Okay, thank you, John. All right, guys. So Scherzer had an issue with the clock, cost him a couple of runs, a couple of long balls. But again, I think the veterans will eventually get it. It's going to take some time. I have no idea. And according to everybody, what the reports was that Nimmo wants to stay healthy. So that just shows you that Nimmo, first time in his career, was finally healthy last year in a contract year. Go figure. And now he doesn't play in the spring because he wants to remain healthy. Like, nobody's saying you have to go 100 miles an hour in spring training, but like, get some at bats. See some live pitching besides your own guys. So, yeah. I get Marte coming off of 2 surgeries. You want to slowly ramp him up. But what's wrong with Nimmo? He played over 100 games last year. Let's go. Get your ass out there. We just gave you an 8-year, $160 million deal. Get your ass on the field. You get hurt, that's called sports. But, listen, that's your guy, Ken. You can have him. I'm telling you right now, Nimmo's going to get hurt. All this nonsense of keeping him out of spring training games like it's going to help him. Come on. Well, I'm telling you, Ken, I'm telling you. First time in his career, he played over 100 games. Why do we just assume that he's going to play over 100 games again? I mean, it's I don't know, just weird to me. But whatever. It is what it is. Listen, if he stays healthy, it's going to benefit the Mets, no doubt. So, but again, I don't see how playing in, it's not like he has to play every spring training game. You could play every other game and be fine. I'm too young to be negative. I'm too young. And I threw misery with this team. That's a problem. That's how you know this team has been garbage for so long. But, and you got to understand that too. Ken, he's probably injured. He's always injured, except for a contract year. Now he wasn't injured. That nagging injury, that little nail that he didn't care to talk about last year. It's probably hurting him now. So, again, that's your guy, Ken. He's always going to be your guy. But I'm telling you right now, everybody who's expecting Nimmo and bashed on me, Ken, you're one of the biggest advocates of that. I'll tell you right now. If Nimmo stays healthy, I'd be absolutely shocked because he did not do it throughout his career. Why expect it for the remainder of this contract, or at least this year even, when in a contract year, magically, he stays healthy. No nagging injuries, no big injuries. I feel a little discomfort in my knee. Nah, none of that. Contract year. Got to make my money. Same thing with Aaron Judge. Oh, this hurts, that hurts. Ouch, ouch. I missed games. All of a sudden, last year, the guy hits the American League home run record and barely misses a game. But with that said, everybody have a great day. Rest of your Friday. Enjoy the weekend. I'll pop on with a Mets Talk Live probably Monday or so. I got a lot of crap to do on the weekend, so it's going to be almost impossible. So with that said, check out YouTube Shorts. I'll probably put something up just to do an instant reaction after the Verlander start and the Senga start. I'll also post stuff on my community page as well regarding that, so check that out. So with that said, thank you for tuning in for the first live stream during the Mets game for the 2023 season, Spring Training Edition. Everybody have a great day. Let's go Mets. Ken, I'll talk to you in emails. Everybody have a great day. Good night, guys.
You'll find a Mets fan. Let's go. This is a Mets year for all your Mets here. Let's go.